Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sol Gittleman Park for what is sure to be a fun day of baseball today between your Tufts University Jumbos and the Beavers of Babson College. The Jumbos enter this one 12-13, but have been playing well as of late, taking two big games this past weekend against Bowdoin to the previous weekend against Amherst to win their first two series of NESCAC Conference play. The Jumbos will have their hands full today hosting the Beavers, who enter this one boasting a 15-8 record, playing out of the always formidable NEWMAC Conference. Michael O'Brien will be on the bump for the Jumbos, and Chase Burrows, the number one guy for the Beavers, will be towing the slab. Could be due for a staff day for both these ball clubs. The Beavers coming off a busy week. This is their third consecutive game. The Jumbos coming off of a strenuous conference series against Bowdoin. So we'll see whether these starters go the distance in this one, or whether both these clubs get the bullpens going early. But we're excited for what should be a fun day of baseball. I'm on play-by-play, joined with Nick Dorr and Tade Carmen. Nick, what are your thoughts coming into this one?
Yeah, I think this is a super strong Babson team. Expect, if their offense get going, expect them to put up a good fight against the Jumbos defense. They have a lot of players slugging over 400, a lot of players batting over 300. They're going to be strong at the plate, and if they get going, they are going to really potentially make an offensive impact as well. The momentum in this matchup is on the side of the Beavers. Last year, going to the Beavers 10-7, and then the year before that, in 2023, also going to Babson, a big hiatus till 2023. Before that, 2008. That being said, momentum in the favor of the Beavers right now in this matchup, and they took a win last night against LaSalle before taking two losses before that against Salve Regina University, the number 13 team in the country, and so they will be looking to continue the wins.
Yeah, they're a really battle-tested team. I mean, they are 4-3 this year against top 25 teams. They have a coach that won Coach of the Year in 2017 in Matt Noon. His 22nd year as head coach. This is an experienced roster, a lot of grad students, a lot of seniors. They're going to be ready to go today, and the Jumbos got to be ready to jump on them right away. As we've talked about, they're in their third game out of 4 in a row, and the Jumbos got a rest day yesterday after taking the home series 2-1 against the Polar Bears. So they just need to be ready to go today for the Jumbos to get this done against a ready Babson squad for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It should be a good one as the boys in blue and white trot out there and take their positions in the field. Taking a look at this defensive alignment for Tufts today, as I mentioned, Michael O'Brien on the mound today for the Jumbos. The sophomore left-hander out of Houston, Texas, comes in making his second start and 7th total appearance this year. He's posted a formidable 5.63 ERA with 7 Ks in 8 innings of work. We'll get back to the rest of that defense in a moment. We'll step aside for a sec for the national anthem. And we're back and ready for action shortly. Finishing up with the Tufts defensive alignment, the battery mate of Michael O'Brien will be freshman Nick Banner behind the dish. He's been a platoon guy for Connor Bralla, both of whom catch in place of the injured Malcolm Whitfield, a defensive player of the year last year in the NESCAC, so certainly missing his absence. Around the diamond, James Henshin makes one of his first appearances over at first, usually over at the hot corner, so we'll see how the freshman fares over there. Up the middle, the Jumbos have McCullough and Fleischer. The two were just about as sure-handed as it comes in the NESCAC. And Ian Robertson, the sophomore, who's seen some work up the middle and even in the outfield, a utility guy, will man the hot corner today for the Jumbos. From left to right, patrolling the outfield, Ben Leonard, Caden Abraham, and Owen McKiernan. Those three get the nod for the Jumbos. As we mentioned, we may see the Jumbos go to the bullpen early here with Michael O'Brien. The guys have been busy after this NESCAC conference play, but he'll get the game started here for the Jumbos. Tay, do you want to walk us through this Beavers lineup?
Yeah, they had hot bats yesterday against LaSalle, putting up 11 runs. They're going to start us off with Parisi, and then Guest, and then Liss, and then in the 4-hole, a very dangerous hitter, all-region first team last year, and the year before that, all-region second team. 2 for 3 against LaSalle yesterday with a home run. That's Brant Savage. Coming in fifth will be Teeter, followed by Kushner in the 6th spot, then Valenti DHing in the 7th spot, then Wilson in the 8th, and Julian closing it out in the 9th spot.
Yeah, should be interesting. Babson has generally been swinging some pretty hot sticks. As you mentioned in the pregame, have posted some pretty impressive wins behind some strong offensive output, beating some top 25 ranked team in the country. So we'll see how Michael O'Brien and this Tufts defense can fare as they attempt to contain the Beavers today. Getting things started, first pitch of the game, 3:32. The Tufts Jumbos take on the Babson Beavers. The left-hander comes set and delivers the first pitch. It's a fastball right down the middle, which Parsi will take for the first strike of the game.
Yeah, Parisi's been a guy that's been struggling a little bit with the bat for Babson. He's hitting 179 this year average, but he's got 14 RBIs, 12 hits, so he can kind of turn it around here, and he's got a good on-base percentage with a 3.53, so he's still finding his way around the diamond, but would like to touch some outfield grass today if he can.
Graduate student, played for Union College before this, batting for them a career .345, slugging .442, on base .421 for a career 139 runs for Union College. Definitely an impactful player that the Beavers were able to recruit. Notably, Babson has a very good business school, which is why a lot of Babson recruiting tends to be graduates and on the older side, something that we'll see play a role in today's game, as they have a lot of graduate students who come off successful baseball programs all around the country.
Parisi works this one to a full count. Couple sharp breaking balls, the 1-2 and the 2-2 just barely missing for O'Brien, but looking tight and landing the fastball. Good early signs as the full count delivery is swung on late and chopped towards the Tufts dugout. We'll redo the 3-2 delivery.
Parisi doing a good job setting the tone here for the Beavers with a tough at-bat, staying alive. And he'll foul another one. There you go.
Late again. Looks like the ball's coming off pretty hot. Little zip on Michael O'Brien's fastball today. Again, not conventionally a starter for this Jumbos squad, making just his second appearance in that starting role. So usually you'll see relievers have a little extra life as they don't have to deal with longevity, as Parisi just gets frozen. Thought that was a ball, though not sure what he was looking at. That looked pretty much right down the middle. Right down the pipe from up here. So Michael O'Brien will clock his first strikeout after an eight-pitch battle there with Thomas Parisi. Brings up number 8, Jason Guest, the senior catcher out of West Winslow, New Jersey, as he swings on the first pitch and drives it sharply out to left field. That ball will hit off the top of the fence, and Guest rounds second and is in there sliding with a double, swinging at the first pitch off Michael O'Brien. Man, that ball was smoked.
Yeah, that was a great swing. Send it right away. Also, way to make a statement. Come out and instantly send the ball flying. Doesn't take any other pitches. And perhaps working to prove that this Beavers offense is as strong as they claim it to be, minus the one out we've seen out far.
Yeah, he's continuing staying hot. He went 3 for 4 with a double in yesterday's game with LaSalle, so that's back-to-back games with a double. Guest also has now a 19 multi-game hit streak coming into this one, and looking to continue that today.
It's Ryan Liss now for the Beavers. The sophomore first baseman stands in, hitting over a 300 clip in his sophomore campaign. As he takes the first 2 pitches he sees low and away. Count is now 2-0.
Yeah, Liss struggled yesterday, went 0 for 3 with a walk against LaSalle. He is 7th in home runs in the NUMAC, though, so watch for some pop off of this bat today.
Ironically, Ryan Liss made his collegiate debut against LaSalle on April 16th of last year in a 5-4 victory. They'll obviously like to replicate the victory day against a different team, as that pitch makes the count 3-1.
Yeah, as we mentioned, this is a grad student heavy lineup. Liss, just a sophomore, though, hitting out of the 3-hole, so bringing some youthful life into the meat of this order. He doesn't see much to hit as he walks on 5 pitches. So 2 on and 1 out now, as that brings up the cleanup hitter, Brant Savage.
Brant Savage, super decorated 2024 D3 Baseball Region 1 first team, ABCA Region 1 first team, 2023 Region 1 second team, Region 1 second team in D3 Baseball as well, 2024, 2023 all NUMAC first team. A very dynamic player, as Tade mentioned already. A dangerous stick at the plate for sure.
That's for sure, Nick. At least in terms of past precedent, this year Savage struggling a bit. Although right on cue, laces one out to left field. Ball hangs up and is played out there by Ben Leonard. No tag. Yeah, so the Beavers will undoubtedly be looking for some more production out of their cleanup hitter. Brant Savage, as you mentioned, one of the more decorated players in the NUMAC this year, hitting for just a .228 average, .645 OPS. Nonetheless, Coach Matt Noon has confidence with him, keeping him in the 4-hole as he's started every game for the Beavers this season.
Perhaps a little bit similar to the Jumbos with players like Ozzie Fleischer, Henry Fleckner, maybe not producing as offensively effectively as they did last year.
Yeah, but with an experienced staff, you know, like both teams here, you have confidence in your guys that have been around. They're going to turn it around. There's still plenty of time left in this season. There's no reason to not have confidence in a guy as decorated as Savage, for sure.
Yeah, and especially as both these teams move into more conference play and the really what they would probably consider the more critical back half or back third of their season. And we'll obviously look to hope that those offensive bats come alive.
Xander Teeter in his first hacks laces one past the diving James Henshin down the right field line. That's sure to place at least one. Windmill is on. They're going to hold him at the last minute. Good last-minute stop sign over there by Matt Noon, and a nice job out in right field, scooping it up in the corner by Owen McKiernan. It will go as a double for Xander Teeter, who is having an unbelievable junior campaign, posting a 1.285 OPS. That is just an eye-popping number hitting out of the 5-hole. So good start to the day for him, plating 1, and early the Jumbos find themselves behind and in trouble with 2 guys on and 2 out as the catcher, Gabe Kushner, a freshman, stands in out of Harrington Park, New Jersey. He takes the first pitch he sees on the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, Teeter went yesterday 1 for 4 with an RBI, and so that's back-to-back games now for him with an RBI. He leads the NUMAC in slugging percentage and OPS, so that's a guy you want to keep off the base pass if you can.
Michael O'Brien doing a good job at working to find the top outside corner. Finds it twice there to make the count 0-2 against Kushner. We'll look to see if he can send him packing just with this third pitch there. The answer is he can't. Count goes to 1-2.
Good 0-2 waste pitch in the dirt. It does look like, even though he's getting banged around a little bit in this first inning, Michael O'Brien's off-speed do have some nice bite to it. He's got that slider, and then that one looked more like a 12-6 breaking ball that landed about a foot in front of the plate. Nice job by freshman backstop Nick Banner blocking it in front. As that ball is foul-tipped and looks like it caught a piece of the home plate umpire there, Mike Hinosa.
Yeah, O'Brien's doing a good job finding the strike zone. Sometimes as a pitcher, if you just miss your spot a little bit, good bats can make you pay. But he's getting in the strike zone, and he's just not finding quite the corners. But this at-bat, he's done a great job, like you guys said,
and
more
Tate,
paint in the black.
As he wanted that one but doesn't get the call. Tate, it's nice to see O'Brien finding the zone because walks have been his kryptonite thus far this season. He's only conceded 8 hits but has given up 14 walks in just 8 innings of work, which is not what you want to see out of a guy coming out of the pen. So nice to see him more accurate today, as that ball is grounded at the always sure-handed Ozzie Fleischer. Throws on to first, and first tests over there for James Henshin, the freshman, who scoops it cleanly. The Jumbos have been looking for their new first baseman, and in his first go of it, James Henshin puts in a good first piece of evidence that he may be the guy. So Babson plates one on 2 hits. They strand 2 guys. They're up 1-0. We'll be back in the Tufts half of the inning after a quick break. Stick with us. And we're back here in the bottom of the first, as Tufts will have their first chance to get the bats going, down 1-0 to the Babson Beavers. Nick, let's take a look at this Babson defense.
Yeah, Babson defense starting on the bump is number 30, Chase Burrows. As we mentioned, the freshman left-handed pitcher from Cream Ridge, New Jersey. 29 innings of work this season with an ERA of a whopping 2.17. Has 10 Ks on the season in those 29 innings of work. An effective player for the Beavers. Look to continue that streak today. His matchup at the plate will be Gabe Kushner. At first base will be Justin Guest. At second will be Xander Teeter. Teeter obviously had a pretty effective top of the first. At shortstop will be Jack Julian. At third will be Brant Savage. And then in the outfield from left to right will be Alexander Wilson, Thomas Parisi, and Ryan Liss. Their designated hitter today will be Ben Valente. Traditionally, a pitcher will look to change sides and be effective on the bat today.
Jesse McCullough stands in to lead things off for the Jumbos as he takes the first pitch he sees from Burrow for a called strike. McCullough, the junior second baseman from Sudbury, Massachusetts, he's struggled a bit in his junior campaign, has started almost every game at second base, hitting under 250 coming into this one after last season in which he slashed 310, 420, 403 in 129 at-bat sample set. So he's looking to get things going, and he does just that here to start this one off as he laces a ball over the second baseman, Xander Teeter. Hot start for Jesse McCullough and the Jumbos as they look to jump on Chase Burrows early in this one.
That's a great at-bat by McCullough, just choking up on the 1-2 count, getting something that you can make contact with. Maybe left that pitch a little too much in the zone for a 1-2 pitch, but just takes it with it, puts it over the second baseman, finds himself a single, which he had 2 of on Monday against Bowdoin.
Yeah, nice to see Jesse McCullough getting things going when it matters. I mean, you have to assume law of averages kicks in with a player that talented at a certain point in the season. Sure, he's having a down year, but Coach Brian Stark confident slotting him in the top of this lineup, and nice to see some output coming from him at the part of the year where it matters most. Ben Leonard now stands in. Count is 1-1. Leonard's provided a lot of the oomph in this lineup, has started almost every game in left field, barring the days he's DHing, hitting just under 300 as he smokes one there down at his first base coach, with a slug sitting at 571. That comes as a product of 4 home runs and 7 doubles. So Leonard definitely provides a lot of the oomph in this Tufts lineup, and nice to see strong production out of him. We'll see how he fares in this lefty-lefty matchup today.
As you mentioned, Ben Leonard has 23 runs in just 25 hits on this season. Super effective from behind the plate.
Yeah, speaking of shots, he's 2-run shot against Bowdoin on Monday. Took that one for a ride too, but it'll be caught by Liss out in right field. But 1 for 4 on Monday, but an important 2-run shot against Bowdoin for sure.
So the nice 2-strike slider gets Leonard out in front to fly out to the right fielder, Ryan Liss. That brings up the always dangerous freshman, James Henshin, who is certainly establishing himself early in his collegiate baseball career, hitting .315 and starting 24 games, mostly over at the hot corner. Today gets the nod at first. He'll switch spots in the lineup today with Cooper Smith. Usually we'll see Smith and Henshin 3-4 today. It's Henshin-Smith. So a couple of changes, but we'll see if that affects the freshman at all. It doesn't look like it will as he laces the ball out to left field. Man, James Henshin is red hot lately. Also worth noting, I was in the 6th floor of the JCC and saw him studiously getting his work done this morning. So not only is he red hot on the diamond, but also a strong student athlete, as we like to see, emphasis on the student component. Brings up Cooper Smith, the junior DH. He's been playing some first base, but today he will get some rest from the field. He'll just go out there and get some swings in. Always a nice way to spend the afternoon.
Yeah, Cooper Smith was incredible on Monday against Bowdoin. He had 4 singles, went 4 for 5. Definitely a huge bat in that game in which they put up 10 runs.
As Cooper Smith hits one right down in the direction of where Xander Teeter hit one in the top of the first, and it will. So, wow, interesting to see parallel outcomes. We see Cooper Smith hit the double down the right field corner to plate 1. Huge piece of hitting, and the Jumbos are all over Chase Burrows early in this one.
Yeah, what a start for the Jumbos. And really effective batting to be able to come back and put another run up and not stay down to this Beavers squad. Obviously, this is a Beaver squad who offensively can be super strong and will want to stay ahead of the Jumbos if they can. But the Jumbos look to have found the offensive momentum right now.
Yeah, really nice to see. And unfamiliar territory here for Chase Burrows. He came into this one posting a 2.17 ERA in 29 innings of work, 10 Ks to his ledger thus far this season. So he's not a guy that usually finds himself in such a jam in the first inning. We'll see how he's able to deal with that as he moves through this Jumbos lineup with Nick Banner, the freshman catcher out of Palm Beach Garden, Florida. Banner takes the backdoor off-speed pitch just off the outside corner for ball 1. Banner comes into this one hitting .314 in 13 games. As we mentioned, he's split time with Connor Brawla, both of whom are playing in place of Malcolm Whitfield, who's a big loss for this program. Been injured, not only a defensive presence, but also swings a hot bat. As Banner chops one back, nice play on the mound there. Burrows will throw over to first and retire Banner with no advance for the second out of the inning.
That was a good decision made by Burrows. He looked to third quick to check if batter was running, said no, and then sent it to first. Really calm decision-making. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a great play by Burrows. It's something you're taught as a kid, as a pitcher, to always square up as soon as you throw the ball just to make sure, just in case it comes right back at you, and he was ready for that one.
That seems like the most terrifying moment as a pitcher, as someone who's not a pitcher, is the ball just coming straight back at you.
I think some of that fight or flight kicks in. What's impressive is after he fields it, is able to stay poised as Owen McKiernan laces one through the 6-hole. That might plate 2 as rounding and coming home to score. The Jumbos call at the plate is safe by Mike Quinosa. Nice piece of hitting by the junior right fielder, Owen McKiernan. And really nice to see some 2-out hitting with runners in scoring position, something this ball club has lacked. We've talked about how their record may not be fully reflective of how well they've played, as a couple games have just kind of slipped through their fingertips for lack of situational timely hitting, but not the case today. And Owen McKiernan jumps on the first pitch running. So Jumbo's coming out aggressive, coming out hot, and it's definitely something that Brian Stark likes to see.
Yeah, that's a great piece of hitting by McKiernan, jumping on a pitcher that might be a little rattled, like you said, doesn't find himself in this type of situation very often, and takes the first pitch he likes and just pulls it right through the gap and gets himself a couple RBIs.
It's Robertson now hitting out of the 7-hole. He's making just his 5th start on the year, hitting .125. He mans the hot corner today as James Henshin bumps over to first base. As Robertson gets his first looks, we are seeing some warming in the Babson pen, so whether that's a product of the trouble that Chase Burrows has found himself in the first inning, or if this was a preemptively planned bullpen game, not sure, but nonetheless, they've got guys going, and Robertson laces one out there And that hangs up for the left fielder, Alexander Wilson. So the Jumbos strike back in decisive fashion. They take a 3-1 lead on 4 hits as they strand 1. We'll be back in the top of the second. Stick with us. And we're back here in the top of the second after the Jumbos get the bats going early, taking a 3-1 lead on the Babson Beavers. Tate, let's take a look at the hitting that fueled that big rally in the first.
Yeah, first we're going to see the double here by Smith this is the single by McKiernan. As just like we said, a great piece of hitting. Jumps on the first pitch that he sees, and just pulls it with his body, puts it right through that 6-hole. And then next we'll see that double that Smith hit as takes an outside, right on the outside black, and just takes it with it, rolls with the pitch, and is able to put it to the opposite field out in the corner. Makes a tough play for the defense, able to knock another run in for Tufts.
Yeah, nice to see the Jumbos getting the bats going early, providing some run support for Michael O'Brien after he concedes one in the top of the first. Getting things going for the Beavers in the top of the second, it'll be Valente, Wilson, and Julian. The DH takes his first hacks and swings at the first pitch, swings right through it for strike 1. Ben Valente, a freshman in this lineup, so we see some parity between the grad students and the youngsters as well, kind of mirroring the diversity of the Tufts lineup a little bit.
Yeah, I think the diversity is experienced, especially on a team like this Beavers team who's made effective NUMAC appearances and NCAA appearances, as O'Brien finds a strikeout there. In that, this experience definitely helps a lot of the younger players really come to the college game and be able to be effective as opposed to maybe being a little more thrown. Now, proving they can be effective.
That was a great pitch by O'Brien, huge 12-6. And you want to go right at it, guys. That's a huge hit down the left field line.
That ball is jumped on by Wilson and hit out by that 330 sign. Lands about 2 feet inside the chalk, the left field foul line, and that will be a double. So Babson starts both innings identically. Leadoff man goes down by way of the strikeout, and then the 2-hitter laces a double down the line. So interesting to see that trend persisting here in the second inning.
Yeah, Alexander Wilson looking to stay hot as he's hitting .357 this year, and yesterday had 2 RBIs going 1 for 3 against LaSalle, and all good signs for the Beavers right there.
Grad student shortstop Jack Julian now stands in. Julian hitting just 196 on the year in 17 starts.
He had an RBI and a run against LaSalle last night, scoring 2 runs total. We'll look to continue the effective offensive performance. Today, O'Brien sends the count to 2-0, 3-0, 2-1. Not sure that was a strike. I think it was a ball. Point being, we continue. 2-1 now.
Yeah, Jack Julian, another grad student in this experienced Beavers lineup. He's struggling a little bit this year, hitting .203. But he did go 1 for 3 with an RBI against LaSalle yesterday.
The 2-1 delivery from O'Brien is swung on and chopped over there. First looks at third base for Ian Robertson, and then James Henshin over at first. So nice to see the corner infielders, who are both new to their position, making good plays on both ends. Robertson charging, and Henshin doing a nice job coming off the bag to apply the tag on the runner for the second out of the inning. Runner does advance to third on that one, as that'll flip the lineup. It'll be Parisi, who led things off and struck out in his first plate appearances.
Yeah, Henshin had a great defensive game on Monday as well, as he had a great stretch on third base as Brawla made a throw from behind the plate over to third. He had to catch it on his backhand. He was able to keep his foot on the bag and get a key out. And good to see him continuing that at first base today.
Yeah, it's nice to have that versatile of a fielder who also swings a good bat and is just in his first year. So definitely a huge value add to this program. It'll be fun to watch him develop in his next 4 years, hopefully all in a Jumbo's uniform.
Unfortunately, a bit of a trend in this school and other sports, as that one is fouled back, that athletes play well and don't always make it 4 years in a Jumbo uniform, choosing to transfer to other universities.
Count is now 1-2 to the Babson leadoff man. As he chops one over to the right side, Henshin makes the play and is charging towards the bag, head first dive. And they get him. Nice play over there by James Henshin. Man, flashing the leather early and making a nice full-length head first dive to just barely beat Parisi to the bag. So Babson in the second inning, no runs on one hit. They strand one. Tufts leads 3-1. We'll be back in the Tufts half of the second after a quick break. Stick with us. And we're back here in the bottom of the second. Thanks for sticking with us on a beautiful, partly cloudy day here in Medford, or from a glass half full perspective, partly sunny day. We'll have 8-9-1 for the Jumbos, Ozzie Fleischer, Caden Abraham, and then back to the top with Jesse McCullough. Jumbos had the hot sticks going in the first inning. See if we can keep that rolling here in the bottom of the second. As Fleischer stands in, he's been struggling on the year. But right on cue, he laces one up the middle. So the Jumbos are seeing it well today out of the hand of Chase Burrows. Ozzie Fleischer jumps on the first pitch he sees and laces it out to the center fielder for a single.
Yeah, that's awesome to see for Fleischer. You know, he, like we've talked about, has struggled batting, not exactly where he wants to be with his averages. But on Monday, went 1 for 4 with an RBI single, a couple loud flyouts. Looks like his confidence is coming back, especially with that nice piece of batting right there.
I will say, as we get our first looks this season at Coach Brian Stark's coaching pedagogy, it's nice to see him stick with guys who are struggling. He slotted Henshin in that 4-hole early in the year as a freshman, probably got some eyebrows, raises some heads to turn, and Henshin was hitting at about a 220 clip for the first 10 games of the season and has now turned things around and has been the most productive hitter out of this lineup. Same goes for his grad student captain, Ozzie Fleischer, here at the top of the order. As well, the same could be said for Jesse McCullough, guys who are struggling. It's nice to see Brian Stark stick with them, have confidence in his guys, and rely on that law of averages to come back around and see production out of those guys.
Yeah, I think that's especially the case, and especially the case for a player like Ozzie Fleischer. As we mentioned, 2024 NESCAC Defensive Player of the Year. So effective on the defense. As the runner goes, can he get down? The answer is yes. The ball goes behind him.
Yeah, nice throw down from his knees there. That was the freshman Kushner behind the plate. One hops it in, which that'll play on turf, but couldn't quite be handled cleanly by Jack Julian, and Fleischer swipes the bag. So the leadoff single, and then the stolen base immediately puts him in scoring position now. Ooh, punched out on the outside corner by Mike Hinojosa is Caden Abraham. He doesn't like the call, and from up here, it looked a couple of inches off the outside corner, but again, we don't have the best eyes on it. It'll flip the lineup now with one out back to the top of the order for Jesse McCullough. He started things off hot in this game with a single into the right center gap.
Yeah, that's a good strikeout for Burrows. He finally kind of found that outside corner, and he's able to get his first strikeout and hopefully for him get himself back into some rhythm here.
Rhythm is definitely important for a starter, particularly a guy who's kind of used to dominance, but he's getting hit around here as Jesse McCullough laces his second hit of the game. Ozzie Fleischer was unsure as to whether that ball was going to be caught or not, so he was kind of caught between second and third, not knowing whether he was going to have to go back to the bag, but safely scurries over to third base as a nice piece of hitting there by McCullough. That's his second hit of the game. Jumbos have guys on the corner now, 2 ducks on the pond for Ben Leonard, the power-hitting 2-hole hitter.
If there's anybody you want at the plate when you have runners in scoring position, it is certainly Ben Leonard. First one looks to find that top outside corner and does. 0-1 so far.
Yeah, Ben Leonard is a guy that can put a ball out of the park at any moment. So if you're Burrows, you got to be careful here. You don't want this one to get out of hand here in the second inning.
Leonard so far 4 home runs on the season. Impressive so far.
He takes the 0-1 delivery off the outside edge. Count works to 1-1. 2 ducks on the pond and 1 away here as the Jumbos lead the Beavers 3-1 in the bottom of the second. Second pickoff move of the game. Certainly not the best one from Burrows, just kind of showing McCullough that he's keeping an eye on him. It's common for teams to run in this first and third scenario, put pressure on the defense with that threat of the guy coming home from third base, as that hanging off-speed pitch is hit but laced right at the first baseman, who tags first, throws onto his shortstop, who applies the tag. That's Jack Julian, as a brutal inning-ending double play for the Jumbos, and importantly, signaled emphatically by Mike Hinojosa, that run does not count. In the instance of a tag play, if that tag was applied prior to the run crossing the plate, that would be a run for the Jumbos. Hinojosa, our home plate umpire, tells us that the tag was applied at second prior to that run coming across the score. So the Jumbos will unfortunately end the inning scoring none on 2 hits and stranding 1 guy. We'll take a quick break and be back, as it looks like the Jumbos are going to have a new wing on the mound. Stick with us. And we're back here in the top of the third after a rare 3-6 double play prevents what was looking like the makings of a big inning for the Jumbos. As we often get these middle-of-the-week staff days, it looks like the trend will persist here as Cole Donato takes the bump for the Jumbos. He enters this one. This is his 6th appearance, posting a 7.15 ERA on the season in 11 1/3 innings of work. Does have 9 strikeouts, but we'll see if the right-hander out of Walpole, Massachusetts, can be effective today against this Beavers lineup.
Yeah, I pitched a most recent inning against Endicott in a game in which the Jumbos lost, but Donato himself didn't give up any earned runs or anything like that, so not a terrible inning from his perspective. Obviously, the game, that's a different story. We'll look to probably pitch the same record today and maybe pitch more than 1 inning, although based on the idea this might be a staff day, odds could be unlikely. We'll wait and see.
He'll see Guest first, then 2, 3, 4, the meat of this Beavers lineup. Guest laced the first pitch he saw off the left field wall in his first at-bat, so definitely a tough guy to see coming into this one out of the pen. But he gets ahead early with a called strike 1. And that ball is hit the other way. It'll hang up there for a nice sliding play by Owen McKiernan. Maybe a bit of a superfluous slide, but a beautiful play nonetheless. And nice to get some defensive support for Cole Donato as he comes into this one and retires the first guy he sees.
Got to build something for the highlight reel, you know?
Yeah. Gotta have a good highlight tape.
Yeah, that one was not as egregious as some. I've seen a couple, like you track it down in the gap, take 2 steps, and then lay out. But
Gotta be able to show your kids something, here. This was Dad playing back in the day. Check me out.
Donato, an interesting story. Didn't pitch, was rehabbing from an injury in his freshman season. Last year in his sophomore campaign, posted a 4.18 ERA. This year the ERA number up a little bit, floating around that 7 range. So probably a guy who had aspirations of slotting more into a starter role, has been seeing work out of the bullpen on account of that slightly high ERA, has been having some trouble limiting big innings. But definitely a guy with projectable talent going further into this year and then next year for this Tufts program.
Yeah, Donato just needs to focus on his command here, especially coming through the meat of the lineup like we talked about. A couple big bats coming through here. He's got 6 walks on the season. And just really slow his game down here. Let's get into a rhythm, be smart, and put these balls where they need to be.
Sophomore Ryan Liss fouls that one back as we'll redo the 1-2 count. Liss hitting .304 on the year and slugging .557. Comes out of Hollywood, Florida, playing. This is his sophomore season. Takes the 1-2 down in the dirt, a nice waist pitch.
Yeah, Liss is one of 6 hitters for Babson, hitting over that 300 clip that's always talked about in baseball. So definitely one of the prominent attackers here for Babson.
The Tufts pitching staff has definitely faced some tough competition. I mean, that Bowden series, that's one of the more potent lineups you'll see at the D3 level. It feels like almost every guy, 1 through 9 in their order, is hitting upwards of like 325, and the meat of their order is all up around 350. But iron sharpens iron, as they say, and it seems that it is kicking this team into high gear when it matters most. Pitching staff improving, more run support, and that comes from playing good competition as Cole Donato strikes out Ryan Liss on a nice inside fastball for the second out of the inning.
Brings up the aforementioned decorated Brant Savage.
Sick baseball name.
You talk about that is
really true.
You talk about that Bowden lineup. I mean, we saw Jacob Lapp on Monday just put in an absolute clinic to those Bowden bats. He was just mowing them down. It was really impressive to watch. So hopefully Donato can give us a taste of that here.
Donato as well, a bit of a legacy on this team. His brother, Matt, graduated in 2023.
Matt also a right-hand pitcher, so runs in the family. As a nice slider, front door slider is handled not cleanly by Nick Banner and won't get the call. Rarely will you get a strike call on one on the edge if the catcher doesn't frame it well or let alone just drop it entirely. It's definitely been a narrative we've been following throughout this season. There's always going to be a spotlight placed on whoever the replacement of a great player is. Malcolm Whitfield, one of the best players, or put up one of the best seasons at least in recent program history, winning NESCAC Defensive Player of the Year, All-American second team honoree, playing the most important defensive position as the captain of the defense behind the plate. So it's been Connor Brawlin, it's been Nick Banner, and we've definitely seen a bit of their defensive shortcomings, at least in contrast to the sure-handed Whitfield.
Yeah, of course, a bit of a hard situation to say, fill these big shoes, but we're going to critique you on every mistake you make in trying to fill those shoes. That being said, as you have mentioned, certainly a bit of trouble behind the plate and a bit at the mound of the season for the Jumbos. They'll look to rectify that going into the real meat of their season, seemingly doing well in that case against Amherst and Bowden. However, Brant Savage makes his way to first base on a walk.
And I mean, just to wrap up this catcher conversation, these guys are nothing to scoff at behind the plate. I mean, Nick Banner, a freshman, hitting over 300 and certainly a serviceable defender. Connor Brawla last year in just 18 at-bats slugged up over 1.3. So certainly talent, and nice to see that deep of talent coming off the bench at the catcher position. It's just tough to replace a guy like Whitfield, not taking away from Banner or Brawla.
Yeah, like you guys talked about, it is really a difficult situation to come in. I mean, you're filling such big shoes, and there's a lot of pressure with that, and you're fighting every day to maintain that spot. So they definitely maybe have been feeling that pressure, and hopefully one of them will settle in.
And it's exciting, too. I mean, if you're a freshman coming into a team, especially playing a position like catcher, and they've got just a total stud behind the plate, you're not really expecting to see much time. So I'm sure Nick Banner was pleasantly surprised to be seeing this many innings, not out of lack of talent, but just because he would probably expect Whitfield to get the majority of the work. So in his absence, he's enjoyed more playing time and has proven himself very successfully in his first year, hitting over 313 starts.
Interesting to see so many pickoff moves here early, as neither team is really that aggressive on the base path, as Babson has nobody with more than 4 steals on their roster. So
as Teeter hits one out for his second hit of the game, he had that RBI double earlier, so he stays hot with a single out to right field.
McKiernan does a good job keeping that one in front of him, even off the bounce, before sending that one to second.
The freshman catcher, number 33, Kushner, will stand in now with 2 guys on and 2 away in the top of the third here as he faces Cole Donato. Donato looking to pitch his way out of this one. Did a nice job retiring guys early, then worked a 2-out walk and a base hit, so he'll look to get ahead on Kushner and retire him without any further damage.
yeah, Kushner, did not play on Tuesday, but we've talked about his numbers already with a .385 batting average. Couple ducks on the pond. This is an important out for Donato.
As that ball is laced out to center field directly at the center fielder. That's Caden Abraham, who makes a nice play. That's always a tough one for an outfielder, a line drive hit right at you, the hardest ball to read, but the sophomore center fielder, Caden Abraham, fields it nicely, and the Jumbos get out of the top of the third with no damage. 2 hits for Babson, 2 runners stranded. Jumbos still lead 3-1. Stick with us. After a short break, we'll be back in the bottom of the third. And we're back here as the Jumbos have Henshin, Smith, and Banner, the meat of their order, in the bottom of the third. See what they can continue to do against Chase Burrows. As James Henshin, have yourself a day. Have yourself a 3-week stretch, James Henshin, as he is just roping every pitch he sees. He hits the ball out into left field. Second knock of the game. Man, I'm not sure we have a perfectly accurate season splits, but I would imagine the second half of James Henshin's freshman campaign has been a batting average around 500. It seems like he gets 2 hits every game.
Yeah, he had 2 on Monday against Bowdoin, so at least the last 2 games, that is accurate. 2 hits every game.
He had 2 against Endicott, and he had a double and a triple in one of the first game of the doubleheader against Amherst, so he's been red hot.
Yeah, he's definitely not a guy that you want to face right now as a pitcher, and especially for Burrows as he's trying to keep this one tight and lets another base runner on here early in this inning.
This is a good time of the season as well to really come alive as a batter.
As a freshman especially, I think the old adage goes, confidence breeds success, which breeds confidence. And it just looks like James Henson is having a lot of fun out there. He's confident, and that's contributing to his good play, which is then making him more confident. And that positive feedback loop is contributing to really good results out on the field. Cooper Smith chops one to the third baseman, who considers going to second for the fielder's choice, but wisely throws on to first. So it'll go as a fielder's choice, and Henson will advance to second base on the play. Nick Banner comes up hitting out of the 5-hole with 1 on and 1 out here. He was retired. He grounded out in his first at-bat.
That was a really tough play for Julian there as he made a quick decision, seeing that second base wasn't going to be there, charged that ball, made a nice hard throw over to first base in that 6-hole.
Another note on Henson and just the general offensive production today. The team has been jumping on a lot of first pitch fastballs. This is something head coach Brian Stark emphasizes strongly to this program. It's a big part of his coaching philosophy. Written on the whiteboard in the dugout in big all caps expo marker says, "My face when you hunt the fastball," and it's a little smiley face, and "my face when you take fastballs," and it's a frowning face. So definitely something Brian Stark wants his guys to do is swing at fastballs, especially in hitter-friendly counts, early in the count, be aggressive, and jump on pitchers. The Jumbos have done that successfully today, and it definitely gets to Chase Burrows, not used to hitters really being just all over his stuff.
Yeah, we definitely saw that on Monday. I was mentioning on the broadcast that the Jumbos were jumping on every pitch. At one point, we had 5 first pitch flyouts in a row, and I mean, you'll take that. That's contact, and in baseball, it's a game where sometimes you have loud outs, and law of averages. Sometimes they're going to find that gap as well, and so they definitely were attacking Bowden, and they put up 10 runs as a result. So it definitely is something that works, and here today they've already got 3 on the board here in the bottom of the third.
For any of the advanced math or statistics, perhaps majors out there that are taking offense to our repeated usage of the phrase law of averages, it may be a statistical fallacy. I'm not really sure, but it does seem to be a thing in baseball that when guys are slumping, they eventually come around. So whether past precedent actually affects future performance, I'm not sure, but it's nice to see some slumping guys come around, and we're chalking that up to the law of averages, whether that's mathematically sound or not.
Well, with James Henson, you also mentioned confidence, and that tends to be pretty important, especially at the plate. When you're confident, you make the right decisions, and for a lot of these batters, they're getting more confident with more swinging hot bats, and because of that, then making the right decisions, and that feedback loop continues to either fulfill the law of averages or build better averages as action is there.
Banner chops that one at the shortstop. Julian, who makes a nice play. Henson, good read on the play, advancing to third base. So after Smith and Banner both bounce out, there are 2 outs. Henson stands on third base as Owen McKiernan comes up to the plate. He had that big RBI double down the right field line in his first plate appearance. Has another chance for a stake in this one as he swings at the first pitch fastball.
Yeah, more first pitch attacking for the Jumbo batters. And speaking of pitching, Burrows is already up at 46 for his pitch count, so maybe kind of lingering around that time he comes out if they're attempting to make a staff game out of this Wednesday ball game.
Well, throughout this matchup, we've seen a couple of different players warm up in the Babson pen right now as the sophomore left-handed pitcher from New Canaan, Connecticut, Tristan Pearl. Whether or not he'll actually come into this game is a different story, but in the last couple of innings, we have seen Beavers warm up. Whether or not, obviously, coaches will decide to make a change is a different story.
Yeah, it's interesting to see guys come up and then sit down. It's tough to get warm, get cold, try to get hot again. So we'll see how Babson manages their bullpen as Owen McKiernan flies out to the right fielder. So an early hit from James Henson turns to be fruitless as he is stranded. 1 hit, no runs scored for the Jumbos in the bottom of the third. They still lead 3-1. Go grab a snack and come back here. We'll have 4th inning action after a short break. And we're back here in the top of the fourth. Jumbos will roll out their third arm of the game, and it's junior Patrick Fanning. He will face Valente, Wilson, and Julian second time through this Babson lineup. Tade, what do you have on Fanning?
Yeah, Fanning not having exactly the season that he has been hoping for, as he's up around a 12 ERA with a 2.67 whip, and in only 6 innings pitched, he's got 8 walks, so maybe some command struggles. He's got a big frame, so hopefully he can just take it slow, find his spots today, get a couple in the zone early, control the count, and I think if he can stick to those keys, he can find some turnaround success here for his season.
I would argue that the only thing that matters as much as stats and empirics is possibly vibes. And as far as vibes go, Patrick Fanning has a great vibe out there on the bump, a big frame, and an incredible last name for a pitcher, Fanning. Hoping to just have guys fanning at the ball much better than Pittsburgh Pirates color commentator and pitcher Bob Walk was not a great name for a pitcher. Walk, but Fanning is certainly a good one. He'll see 6, 7, 8 in this lineup. And Valente, Wilson, and Julian, as Valente stands in the DH, 0 for 1 in his first at bat. Fastball misses high.
Yeah, Valente saw 3 pitches and sat back down at his first at bat, so a good opportunity for Fanning to take care of business on, well, it's only been 1 at bat, but it wasn't a great one, so hopefully he can capitalize on maybe a little down confidence for Valente.
Banner drops another borderline call, and it goes for a ball, so trouble squeezing it as he tries to frame pitches. Gets the call there, 2-1.
Yeah, I think that's another tough part of days like this when there are quote-unquote staff days, is that once you as a pitcher have thrown quite a few pitches, you kind of have an idea of, you know, where the umpire's strike zone is and where you should be throwing. And so for a new pitcher, they have to almost come in and refigure that out every single time, especially when they're only given an inning. A little more difficult to do that.
Yeah, we've also seen Banner behind the plate has dropped a couple, and I think that could also be a result of that staff day. Just different spins, different wind-ups, different ways the ball's coming in, and different pitches. So not exactly easy on a catcher with a new guy in every inning.
Yeah, it's tough, especially on this big of a roster, and as a freshman, don't have much past experience with these guys. Banner may very well be catching some of these guys for the first, second, or third time, and it definitely takes a couple times catching someone in a bullpen setting, in a game setting, to really build a relationship, build rapport, and also, as you mentioned, Tade, astutely knowing how their spin, as Banner will have a chance to make a play on this foul ball, which he does nicely. That's always a tough one. Backspinning pop-up behind the plate, but Banner handles it with ease for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, there's some confident defending from Banner right there behind the plate.
Wasn't sure if that ball was going to go up and over the net behind. That one doesn't, stays in front of it.
That's always, I mean, that's not an easy play. You got to find the ball. You got to discard of the mask. You know, deal with the wind and the backspin on those. Potentially deal with the backstop. Banner makes that one look easy.
That'll bring up Wilson, who doubled earlier in this one, so he's already had some success, and Fanning hoping to make him fan on a couple here instead of let that one go back to the outfield.
I mean, the jokes write themselves as
They
an
really
announcer.
do.
It's really it's nice to have this kind of guy on the mound.
One might say he'll continue to want to be fanning the flames of success.
As that play is made out there by Jesse McCullough, that can always be a tricky spot on the field, described by some as a Bermuda Triangle of sorts out behind first base and third base. Oftentimes in windy conditions at the D3 level, you'll see balls kind of awkwardly fall out there for cheap hits, but the Jumbos handling it nicely there. Jesse McCullough ranging over and making the play. So Fanning retires the first 2 guys he sees with relative ease. He'll have Jack Julian, the 9-hitting shortstop, in this Beavers lineup, looking for a 1-2-3 inning. The first pitch delivery to Julian. This is up and away for ball 1.
Yeah, Fanning's been efficient so far. He's only thrown 9 pitches, found himself 2 outs via the flyout, both of them.
That pitch just misses. Looks like we're going to get an interesting mound visit. So Fanning only 8 pitches into this outing, but trotting out to the mound is the pitching coach. That's Bob Clark. He's going to have a conversation with his junior righty.
Yeah, maybe he's seeing something on the scouting report on Julian and on the way that he's throwing to him. Not exactly sure, or maybe just sees something in his windup. Maybe he's tipping what he's throwing. You never know. It could be anything, just a confidence check-in.
It's interesting. I mean, we talked earlier in this broadcast about how much rhythm matters for a pitcher. Whenever you have a guy in your rhythm, it's kind of the job as the defense and the catcher, and equally so as a coaching staff, to keep him going and keep him in that rhythm. So whenever you see Fanning kind of working through hitters, you'd imagine the defense and Bob Clark would want to keep his guy in rhythm. So he must have really seen something. Maybe, as you said, Tade, good point, could be tipping pitches, could be an injury concern or something, just something he didn't like in his pitcher out there that would warrant him walking out and breaking his rhythm in what's been a successful inning of work thus far.
Well, there's a good one. Got him to fan on that one.
Like we've got to, whenever someone has this easily punnable of a name, we need to put a quote on how many times we. I remember we had a Brandeis Judges game, and we were just peppering the broadcast with verdict and I don't even know, all sorts of puns. I apologize for any viewers of that Brandeis game that were exhausted by the commentary on that one. That was Nick and I alike. We were having fun, but I'm not sure how good of a listening experience it was. So we'll refrain from continuing on the Fanning jokes.
Maybe made the ruling final that we should continue with the puns.
And down goes the batter. It's a damn shame for the Beavers. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Fanning, and we will be back in the bottom of the fourth. Stick with us.
Robertson.
And we're back here in the bottom of the fourth. It'll be Ian Robertson, Ozzie Fleischer, and Caden Abraham for the Jumbos. Chase Burrow's still out there. 50 pitches into this outing. 3 innings of work. Has given up 7 hits and 3 runs, all of them earned. He's punched out just 1 hitter. As squaring early and laying down a beautiful bunt. Will it hold the line? No, just barely. Well, it looked like the makings of a beautiful bunt for Ian Robertson. Just barely trickles foul.
Yeah, that was good patience there from Burrows to wait and see if that ball did roll foul, which of course it did, proving to be not necessarily a bad start for him, but Ian Robertson will look to try again. Probably not with a bunt, but...
I mean, even unsuccessful bunt attempts get the defense on edge. You see the third baseman creep in a little bit as that one's chopped right to him. Actually worked to his benefit in terms of defensive alignment for the first out of the inning, but seeing guys slash early or lay down a bunt and pull back, things of that nature, can help to throw off the defense, get guys back in rhythm with their swing. So I like Ian Robertson squaring there early, especially as a guy who's had a bit of trouble swinging the bat. But nonetheless, he goes down by way of the ground out. It's Ozzie Fleischer now who singled up the middle on the first pitch he saw back in the second inning.
Beavers right now in the last 2 and a bit innings, counting this one. Haven't let up any runs from the Jumbos, doing a good job at stopping the river that is the Jumbos offense, living up to their name, as they now will see if they can keep that going. Ozzie Fleischer will obviously look to change the script, break the dam. In that case, that doesn't happen.
Yikes. Awkward swing there by Fleischer. Looks like he kind of got caught in between, maybe guessing a little bit. Chops one back to the pitcher, but not a super confident hack on what was a good fastball to swing at. So he grounds out 1-3, and a quick inning of work is exactly what the doctor ordered for Chase Burrows. And bunting is Caden Abraham. Now, that is surprising. I like the leadoff bunt from Ian Robertson. I don't know, Tade, what do you think? After two guys go down early, what do you think of bunting for a hit on the first pitch you see as the third guy in an inning?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, I'm not sure if they're seeing something with Burrows, if they're just trying to play a mental game. I mean, interesting for sure.
Swings away there and chops it over at the first baseman, Justin Guest. So a quick inning for Burrows, retires the side on just 5 pitches. We'll be back after a quick break. Jumbo's plate none on no hits. Stick with us for the top of the 5th. And we're back here in the top of the 5th. Patrick Fanning trots back out for his second inning of work. He had a good inning in the top of the 4th. He'll have the top of the Babson lineup to deal with in Parisi, Guest, and Liss, who take their third round of hacks here in this one. Only one hit amongst the 3 guys hitting at the top of the Babson lineup, so Fanning will undoubtedly hope to continue that trend of containing the Babson lineup. Interestingly, we've seen more production out of the lower half of the Babson lineup. Teeter has been hot with a double and a single. He's due up 5th in this inning if it is to come to him.
Yeah, and we mentioned the vibes and the confidence that Fanning came out with onto the mound when he came out of the pen. And he looked great. He faced 3 batters, mowed them down in 14 pitches, strikeout, a couple flyouts. He looks ready to go, as we can see him walking around as they throw it around the horn. He looks ready here.
So it's Parisi to lead things off. The grad student comes into this one hitting just 176, 0 for 2 on the day in this one.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Babson really kind of has their lineup stacked towards the top, but it's been the lower half as we haven't seen anything from Savage, which is one of their biggest bats.
As Parisi squares the button, he lays down a nice one. He'll beat that down the line with relative ease. So both teams looking to get things going by way of the small ball. The Beavers having more success in that endeavor as Parisi leads things off with a bunt. Tade, we had mentioned how the bunts last inning from the Jumbos from Robertson and Abraham were a bit questionable. This time, I really like that move from Parisi. He's been a guy that's been struggling to get things going swinging. So he tries it, and immediately, as Fanning throws it down the line, no chance for Henshin to reel that one in, so the errant pickoff attempt will push Parisi to second. And just like that, you can see how small ball puts pressure on teams. The bunt and then the bad pickoff attempt already gets a guy into scoring position, and Babson hasn't even taken a swing of the bat this inning.
Yeah, that's really the first mistake that we've seen Fanning make. And like you said, with the bunts, maybe Robertson, also a guy that's been struggling to get on base, who tried to lay down that first bunt, and we see success here with it. So another guy struggling to get on base, and Parisi finds his way on that time, and here he is now in scoring position with no outs.
Banner there does a good job at keeping that ball in front of him. Definitely not the first ball he's dropped today, but not balls that have gone behind him, which I think is important as a catcher.
Yeah, I will say games like this in the NESCAC, in the NUMAC, and some of these competitive conferences, especially amongst teams that are familiar with playing each other, are won across strategic lines. It's not always the most talented roster that prevails. It's the team that can piece together the best strategic game, as Fanning does a nice job dealing with that comebacker in off the hands.
That was impressive. That ball came right back at him, almost in a weird, slow, delayed way, and he reacted well and was able to get up into the air high enough to catch that one for the first out.
Yeah, jammed Guest pretty badly on that one and does a nice job fielding the lofting slow line drive. That'll bring up Liss, the right fielder's 0 for 1 in this one with a walk. He swings on and misses the first pitch he sees. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Nice job pulling the string there by Fanning and getting Liss out in front. Oftentimes you'll see that first pitch change up in a righty-lefty matchup. The pronating arm side movement on a changeup is difficult to pick up from a lefty, especially expecting fastball early in the count.
Yeah, a couple good plays there by Banners. That's 2 in a row. Almost in the dirt. That one was in the dirt. First one was pretty close, but Banner really needs to kind of dial in here, especially with a runner in scoring position. You don't want to let him get to third for that sac fly opportunity, so he doesn't want to let one get by him here, even though he's had a couple struggles behind the plate.
Liss smokes that one into the left center gap, ranging back on it and not going to get it as Caden Abram as that ball one-hops the fence. Scoring easily as Parisi, as Liss is going to try to stretch this one into a triple, and he is in there safely. An opposite field triple into the left center gap for Ryan Liss. Plates Parisi, and the Beavers tag on another run. Their deficit cut in half to just 2-3 here in the top of the 5th.
Perhaps shows the experience of head coach Matt Noon, willing to try things and keep new things going. And also, even if he's down just a little bit, not be down and out, knowing that they can still certainly come back with the offense that this Beaver squad has.
Great base running awareness there by Liss, as well as he was motoring that whole way through. That ball hung up for a long time out in the gap, and he found his way to third. And like we were just talking about, now there's another sac fly opportunity here to tie the game.
And as a reminder, this whole inning got started when Thomas Parisi laid down the bunt and there was that errant pickoff attempt. So, again, we see how small ball and then one big swing can really change the complexion of a ball game, as the Beavers are right back in this one.
Yeah, especially with the bunt, you see the first and third baseman usually creep in just a little bit and perhaps change their position or change their mentality just a little bit. That's something that batters can usually capitalize on, just placing balls in gaps that might not have otherwise been there.
Well, that gap, the third and first baseman could have been playing pretty much where, unless they were playing at the 370 sign out in left center, they wouldn't have had a play on that ball. That is falling pretty much regardless of defensive alignment, but undoubtedly it's a good point. Does affect at least the psychology of the defense and the way they approach hitting whenever teams are going to the small ball and hitting the balls in the gap. It's hard to cover for both, as the Jumbo's infield will draw now, looking to cut down a run at the plate. Savage swings through that one. The count is now 2-2. Waiting on deck is the ominous Xander Teeter, who has 2 hits in this one, including an RBI double. So, barring some sort of outfield assist, double play type situation, Teeter will get a look at Fanning in this inning with a runner on. Nice job to stay alive here by Brant Savage.
Yeah, Savage is really putting in a veteran at-bat here, as this is coming in the 8th pitch now of this at-bat. He's making Fanning work, and Fanning's had a good outing so far, but you can see how a small mistake like that in a season that really hasn't gone your way can really cost you, as with that errant pickoff puts the guy in scoring position.
That ball is hit hard but foul. Fanning had him out in front, so we'll redo the 2-2 delivery here. Babson has a guy on third and 1 out as they trail the Jumbos by 1 in the top of the 5th inning. Really even game all around. Tufts 7 hits, Babson 6. mostly sure-handed defense, though a miscue by Tufts has led to opportunities here in the top of the fifth. As that ball is swung on and hit well, out to Owen McKiernan in right field. Hill might have a play at the plate. Tagging from third, the throw comes in. It is not in time to get Liss. A nice strong throw by McKiernan. 2 hops into Nick Banner, but that was probably too deep, barring any kind of hero effort from McKiernan. So that'll go as a sac fly, and just like that, via the bunt, the triple, and that fly ball, the Beavers have tied it. We've got a ball on the field, so we'll take a quick pause. That one gets thrown back into the dugout. Hopefully that's not whoever's coming into the game next, that they're struggling to find the zone that badly as the ball ends up in left field. But
that was a great throw from Owen McKiernan nonetheless. Obviously super far out in right field. Can't necessarily get that ball all the way to Nicholas Banner fast enough, but certainly close.
Yeah, certainly a valiant effort on that throw.
as that ball is swung on and hit out to left center, ranging under and calling for it, going a long way is Caden Abraham. First time the Jumbos have successfully retired Teeter in this one. So we're all knotted up at 3 after a bunt, a blast, and a sac fly for the Beavers in the top of the 5th. 3-3 as the Jumbos come up and hope to get the bats going in the bottom of the 5th. Stick with us. We'll be back after a short break. And we're back here in the bottom of the 5th. Jumbos will have the top of the lineup with McCullough, Leonard, and Henshin. First, let's take a quick look at that RBI triple off the 370 sign in left center. Tade, what did you see on that big hit for the Babson Beavers?
Yeah, just an outside pitch coming in that he rolls with, takes it the opposite way, a one hop. It hung for a long, long time in the air, and you can see the aggressive base running by Liss. He never slowed down for a second. He was gunning for third as soon as that left his bat, and that puts himself in a great position for that sac fly from Savage and able to tie up the game on a huge turning point.
Yeah, huge hit there by Ryan Liss. We'll now have the top of the Jumbos lineup with Jesse McCullough. He looks to bunt man. So Jumbo's really liking small ball. Hasn't played to their advantage yet in this one, but we'll see if they keep trying it. Jesse McCullough has 2 hits swinging away earlier in this one, so interesting to see him trying to lay one down as he laces one right at the shortstop but finds his glove without having to move. He throws on to the first baseman who has to come off the bag but applies the tag successfully. Nice play over there by Justin Guest. So Jesse McCullough goes down. We've seen a lot of that from the Jumbos, hard hit balls that find gloves. Not so much in this one. They've had a little bit of better luck, things coming around and turning their way, but definitely it's been a narrative we've followed throughout the season. It's not an advanced analytic that we keep at the D3 level, but expected batting average is something that you'll see at higher levels in pro ball, and it has to do with barrel rate and exit velocity, and it feels like the Jumbos, if we had those analytics, I would imagine, would have a pretty high expected batting average compared to what we have, because it seems like we barrel balls into guys' gloves a lot.
Yeah.
As that just happened to Jesse McCullough.
Yeah, and going on about that bunt situation, both of those bunts coming on the very first pitch of the inning.
As that ball by Ben Leonard is hit just inside of the first base bag, he's routing and looking for 2, and he does successfully stretch it into a double. Nice throw right on the bag, but sliding in safely is the left fielder Leonard. That's his first hit of the game, adding to what's been a very impressive season. He's hitting over 300 on the year. And that brings up James Henshin 2 for 2 and red hot with guys in scoring position. This is the situation the Jumbos are looking for here in this one as they try to break the tie in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, Henshin already with 2 hits today, so if he can make it a third here, he'll put the Jumbos right back in the lead.
Understandably sees an off-speed pitch in the first delivery. He's been jumping all over the fastball, hitting out of the 3-hole. Not surprising to see them go with the soft stuff, trying to throw off his timing. Go to the slider again, this time lands it. So Henshin has seen 2 off-speed pitches. Count is now 1-1. Maybe thinking dead red, or maybe they go back to the well here with another off-speed pitch. Be curious to see. Burrows comes set, delivers a big pitch. It is another off-speed pitch. Man, really respecting the young freshman. Don't want to give him a fastball. He's seen 3, looks like sliders. The count is now 1-2. A lot of directions Burrows could go. Fourth off-speed would be interesting. They do it, and they've got Henshin off time, so maybe they're realizing both of Henshin's hits in this one coming off of the fastball. Maybe they're realizing the approach going forward is going to be to feed him a lot of off-speed stuff. He hasn't seen anything hard this at-bat. 4 straight breaking balls. Slider again. Doesn't really get around that one well. Tried to go backdoor, but lands in the lefty batter's box. Count is now 2-2 to James Henshin. He's 2 for 2 on the day. Has a runner in scoring position here. Big at-bat for the Jumbos. Finally, looks like he saw his first fastball there. Fouls it back.
Yeah, that looked like the first ball that they've given Henshin up in the zone, as they've been trying to keep it low and away, low and inside. They don't want to give him anything in his sweet spot here.
That's the slider. Just misses. Nice take. We talk about guys looking hitterish whenever they just look confident, they look ready to hit. Those guys are tough to pitch to. And the way Henshin, even when he's not swinging, the way he's taking pitches, he's got a hitterish approach in the box right now. Although that pitch gets him a nice slider, so James Henshin sees almost all off-speed pitches, and it fools him. Really nice sequence there from Chase Burrows, and a good job making the adjustment after Henshin bested him in the first 2 matchups. So that'll bring up the designated hitter Cooper Smith hitting out of the 4-hole as the Jumbos will try to plate this runner on second base.
Yeah, Burrow's now at 72 pitches thrown, so maybe not a staff day for Babson as we were expecting coming in here on a Wednesday night game in their 3rd game in 3 days. But, you know, Burrows has put together a solid outing here. He got knocked around a little bit, but he's kind of settled in here recently.
Cooper Smith had 3 RBIs against Bowdoin last Friday. Obviously, we'll look to bring the batter home as that batter is pushed to third.
Yeah, that was a balk there. Mike Kenyosa called it, and Burrows gets the explanation. Matt Noon stepped out of the dugout, looked like was thinking about contesting, but liked the justification. He got at least enough to accept it and walk back to the dugout. So the runner pushes to third. Doesn't change the situation hugely here for the Jumbos, as a hit to the outfield probably would have scored that runner anyways, but Smith has an RBI opportunity here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th, and he converts, lacing a ball out to left field. Nice piece of hitting. Second time in this game we've seen the Jumbos come through with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, getting the bats going when it matters most, and it's Cooper Smith with a nice piece of hitting. That's going to send Matt Noon out, and we've been seeing guys warming in the Babson pen all game. I think Matt Noon might take the ball here from Chase Burrows and call a quits on his day. He will. So Babson will go to the pen. Final line for Burrows in 4 2/3 inning of work. Gave up 4 runs, all of them earned on 9 hits. Did have 2 strikeouts. He'll be responsible for Cooper Smith over at first base if that run is to score. Trotting in now for Babson looks like number 38.
Which is
That's Tristan Pearl. Nick, what do you have on Pearl?
Tristan Pearl is the sophomore left-handed pitcher from New Canaan, Connecticut. And I don't believe has had an appearance this season so far. I might be wrong. But nonetheless.
Let's take a look at that base knock by Cooper Smith. Get a replay of that one, as that ball was just hit hard right out to left field. The second hit of the game. Cooper Smith came through with an RBI earlier in this one, so a nice day for him hitting out of the DH slot. Usually a guy we see out in the field either at first base or we've seen him out in right field a little bit, so maybe this one has a little more time to think about his AB's game plan, and it's working well for him. So if he likes that spot and Henshin likes first base and we can find a consistent everyday starter over at third, be it Robertson or someone else, maybe the Jumbos can figure out a strongly solidified lineup, as they've been messing with a couple different things throughout the course of the season, but what they've got going today is working.
Tristan Pearl, I apologize, has not played this season. However, played in 2024, pitched 8 innings with an ERA of 13.5, had 6 strikeouts in that 8 innings of work, and will look to make a starting debut for the Beavers in this season. Interestingly, another pitcher also in the Babson area warming up, but who knows?
Yeah, and Burrows really left that last pitch to Smith kind of right in his sweet spot. I mean, a high looping in off-speed pitch, and I mean, a hitter like Smith is just going to take that somewhere all day. And maybe that's a result of the fatigue. He'd been left in a while. You never know, but either way, here we are.
Now stands in the catcher wearing the unique number 49. It's freshman Nick Banner. He's 0 for 2 on the day. It'll be interesting to see how Pearl handles this outing. We noticed him warm. Oh, wow, good pickoff move. They've got him. Oh, no, the pickoff move is dropped. Man, they had him if that would have been able to be secured over there by Justin Guest. Really nice lefty move by Pearl. Kind of a balk move as it's described. Seems like a balk, but is fully allowed and is definitely something crafty lefties use to their advantage to control the run game. Pearl would have bought himself an out if that ball was successfully secured over at first. What I was saying is we saw Pearl going for a while in this one. He was warming up for almost 3 innings as another good pickoff move, narrowly diving back as Cooper Smith. So we'll see how that, maybe that's just what he likes to do. Some guys like longer time to warm up, but looked like he was up and down and getting hot and getting cold. That can be tricky coming into the game as a reliever as Cooper Smith runs after 2 good pickoffs. The throw is right on the money, but he beats it, so a good jump bests a good throw, and Cooper Smith swipes a bag and is now in scoring position with 2 outs.
Yeah, that was a good throw from Gabe Kushner to get the ball and put it exactly where it had to be. Obviously, just a little late. That's a tough ball for a catcher to throw, and the catcher has to react super quickly, which is hard to do.
It's also hard to get such a good jump going on first move on first base after 2 good pickoff attempts, so Cooper Smith does a nice job. That ball is popped softly over to first. Bit of a sketchy play over there by Guest, but he's able to haul it in. So Pearl comes in and gets the out he was tasked to get. The Jumbos plate 1 on that Cooper Smith RBI single. They lead 4-3. We'll be back in the top of the 6th. And we're back here in the top of the 6th. Hunter Beindorf, the grad student, will come in to replace Cole Donato. after 2 good innings of work for Donato. Beindorf enters this one. It's his 7th appearance. Posted a 5.91 ERA in 10 2/3 innings of work. Does have 8 Ks on the year. So Beindorf looking to come in and be the 4th guy out of the Jumbo's pen to successfully retire this Babson lineup. He'll have Kushner, Valente, and Wilson. That's 6, 7, 8 for the Beavers.
Yeah, the right-handed pitcher from Lone Tree, Colorado, will look to keep up the momentum that the Jumbos have started. Score, obviously, right now for the Jumbos, 4-3 going into this inning.
Kushner 0 for 2 in this one, the freshman catcher. Seen him make a couple nice throws down to second base, one from his knees, and then in the last inning, almost gunning Cooper Smith, stealing second. Both times the runners had good jumps, so Stoll not to the fault of his arm strength. Count 1-1.
You'd usually say that this is the part of the lineup that you would want Beindorf to come in and face, but the bottom of the lineup tonight for Babson has been hot, and so he's going to have to lay him down.
Certainly a bit of pressure put on him as the count goes to 2-1 now against Kushner.
Time is called by catcher Nick Banner. Two-one count. I like this look out of the freshman catcher. Not flashy at all. Oh, as he just eats that one and fires up the dugout right off the elbow. I'm not even sure. Oh, he is wearing a guard. Okay, but in today's day and age, you see guys, just look at the contrast between James Henshin over at first base and Kushner. Henshin's got the sunglasses and the stirrups and the wrist tape, and Kushner's just kind of an old school, early 2000s, baggy pants, gritty guy, which is what you want out of a catcher, and Henshin's kind of what you want out of your young stud. So
it's very Dustin Pedroia from back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
On the Red Sox.
That's a good player comp. That ball is softly hit out to center field and is going to fall. Nice deke by Caden Abraham trying to get the runner to think he was going to catch that ball, but Kushner reads it well and advances to second. So the runners go station to station on the shallow looping fly ball that falls out by the left side of that Jumbo's logo emblazoned in the center field turf.
Yeah, it's a well-placed ball. That ball kind of drops into not necessarily a similar triangle of weird open space, but definitely a spot where there's just a little bit of awkwardness on whose ball it is and who's going to claim it, and that's enough time usually potentially for that ball to drop.
Yeah, it's a big outfield, and this Tufts defense consisting of Leonard, Abraham, and McKiernan out there patrol it well, but those balls are tough to get, as that is just kind of that awkward zone, as you mentioned, Nick, right between the range of Fleischner and McCullough up the middle and Abraham ranging in from center field.
Yeah, especially with center field being 400 feet. I mean, that's a long way to come in. You got to respect the warning track power. You also got to respect the bloopers. It's a long run.
Wilson now stands in. The left fielder is 1 for 2 on the day. He's got a 1-1 count as Beindorf takes the sign from his pitch comm on his left wrist, comes set and delivers the 1-1. It's a front door curveball that lands nicely. Good pitch there by Hunter Beindorf. Nice to see him getting the off-speed pitch going early in this one.
Beindorf in 2024 had a 3.32 ERA with 12 appearances as a relief pitcher. Not necessarily coming in today as the real relief position, a little more into the middle meat of the game, but nonetheless has done a good job.
That ball is chopped over at the third baseman. Nice play, bobbled at Ian Robertson, but secures it and throws on to James Henshin over at first base. So the runners advance as it will go as a 5-3 put out. Runners now on second and third with one away here as Hunter Beindorf will face Jack Julian, the 9-hitter, who's 0 for 2. He's a grad student playing shortstop for this Babson team.
That's a frustrating one for the Jumbos. You know, a potential double play ball coming in. I know it's a tough one, bouncing, and maybe a one-hopped Robertson there on third, but the situation becomes 2 outs, runner on third versus 1 out, runner on third. It's a lot easier for Babson to tie the game here now with the sac fly on the board.
Yeah, it looks like quarters pinched slightly, playing even with the baseline. So if it comes to that, maybe look to come home and nab this runner at the plate. Jumbos do have a 1-run lead, so most importantly is preventing that guy on second who represents the go-ahead run from the Beavers from coming across to score. So single to the outfield will undoubtedly have Leonard, Abraham, or McKiernan coming up firing to the plate. Hitters count now to the shortstop Julian, who chops one softly down the left side. Foul.
Yeah, Beindorf has been struggling here early with command. He's been missing a lot inside and just not hitting his spots here, but he's got time to turn that around as he's going to try and battle his way back into this count here.
Julian hitting just a $196 and taking an 0 for in this one. We've got the top of the lineup looming in Parisi, who's 1 for 3. That hit was a bunt single, and he ultimately came across to score. Last inning for the Beavers. Swung on and missed is a 3-1 delivery. Count is now full. Looked like the fastball, but Julian didn't have his timing. He was out in front of it, strangely. Just kind of waved at a pitch that probably would have been ball 4. As the green line rolls through in the background of the American flag waving in the wind. It's a beautiful day here in Medford. That's ball 4. The bases are now loaded for the top of the order in Parisi, who's 1 for 3. Guest is on deck. He's 1 for 3. In the hole is Ryan Liss, who had that triple. So this is the meat of the Babson lineup. Bases are loaded, not the situation that Hunter Beindorf wanted. And Brian Stark, the head coach, is going to trot out there. Looks like it's going to be a tight leash for Hunter Beindorf if Stark is in fact going to take the ball from him here.
Yeah, I just he didn't hit his spots, right? He's hurting himself with a couple walks there, and it sucks when you're missing the zone like that, and hitters can kind of really just wait for the pitch that they want. They can wait on a fastball in their sweet spot, because eventually you're going to have to give it to him when you work yourself into 3-0, 3-1 holes, hit a guy. It's a tough situation, and you don't want to see a walked-in run here. So I think it's a good move by Stark and a key part in the game to maybe try somebody else, and also give Parisi coming up a fresh look. He doesn't have somebody that he's seen throw to a couple hitters here.
Will be a new pitcher coming in on this mound. Can't entirely see the number.
Looks like Emmett Christian here for the Jumbos. The first year from Durham Academy in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. That's a good baseball school. He's had mixed results. Pitched the opener for the Jumbos with really, really strong success in that one. Went about 5 innings, had a couple strikeouts. Following that appearance, he's made 3 other starts and 7 total outings. An 8.56 ERA and 13 2/3 innings of work. Does have 16 strikeouts, so averages a little over a strikeout an inning, which is good. Interesting here as Christian warms up. The 3 runners, usually you'll see the guys on base maybe huddle together over by their third base coach in between pitching changes, but all 3 Babson runners working on their secondary leads, which is very rare. I mean,
yeah,
they're trying to get a read on this. It is important when you have a guy on third to get a quick jump home on a ball hit on the ground in the infield, so maybe that's what they're trying to time up, but very gritty, not taking a pitch off even the pitches that aren't in the game for Babson. So they're doing the little things, that's for sure. Let's see if it manifests itself in success here.
Emmett Christian put in a good inning against Bowdoin on Monday. He had no earned runs and 2 strikeouts. He looked sharp, looked confident, so he's been up and down this season, but on Monday he looked confident and ready to go, and so hopefully he can replicate that success here today.
I've never seen a baseball team practice secondary leads on every pitch of a warm-up when a relief pitcher comes into a game. It's really about as gritty as it gets.
Babson really embracing the theory of marginal gains
Yeah.
and trying to do everything they can to come out on top against the Jumbos, keep their 2-game win streak going.
So it's Parisi here, the leadoff man. He's 1 for 3 on the day, playing center field. The first pitch he sees is a nice slider landing for Christian for strike 1.
Tough spot for Christian to come in, or really any pitcher, but just got to slow it down here and really just take it one pitch at a time, hit your spots, and hit it in the zone.
That ball's fouled back, so he's doing just that, Tate, getting ahead early here on Parisi. Count 0-2, bases loaded. Tufts leads by 1, and are in a tricky situation here at the top of the 6th. Let's see if Emmett Christian can work out of it. A strikeout would do a lot in that direction here, and he's got a guy deep in the hole, 0-2. Oh, no, that's the worst outcome as he plunks him, tugs a heater, and catches, looked like the front foot there of Parisi. So Emmett Christian had the batter in an 0-2 hole, and then with the bases loaded, there was no place to put him. He hits him. Plates the tying run. It's 4-4. Same situation now for the 2-hitter in the Babson lineup. This is Guest, the first baseman.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there for the Jumbos. You take a guy out that was maybe missing inside, throws a couple walks, and then 3 pitches later, it's a hit by pitch anyway. And like you said, a really good pitcher's count. And Christian did such a good job getting himself into that spot, and maybe get a little too excited coming in with that 0-2 pitch.
Yeah, of course, the Babson Beavers still in a good place, bases loaded, and where they want to be.
Slider lands for strike 1. It's a 1-1 count here for Justin Guest, the first baseman. He's 1 for 3 on the day. He's got an opportunity to plate a couple runs. Bases are juiced here for the Beavers. Corners drawn, middle back, looking for a double play. That one has popped up on the infield. Christian calling for it. Banner will call him off and secure it. Good job taking command there by Nick Banner. Second out of the inning, and it's a big one for the Jumbos. Really changes the situation. Infield will all drop back. They've got forces everywhere, but they still do have to deal with the 3-hitter, Ryan Liss, who had that triple off the 370 side in his last at-bat, which was a big one in changing the complexion of this game.
Unfortunate as a batter there for that ball to go high. You hope that sac fly goes anywhere but right next to home plate. See if you can get a runner home. Obviously, in this case, they cannot.
Really good stop there by Banner behind the plate. That's one right between the legs that can get away from you. And this is a situation we've seen him drop a couple balls, but he can't drop one here. He can't let that one get behind him and let Babson get a free run.
The 1-0 delivery misses low. 2-0, no place to put him, but also not a guy that you feel so comfortable attacking. So a tough situation here for Emmett Christian.
Admittedly, did come into this situation in a bit of a bind after Hunter Beindorf left the field. So,
yeah, these runs will be inherited to Beindorf. At least the guys on second and third will be. But it's 3-0 now, and already hit a guy. Now looking like he might plate another one by way of the free pass. Have to imagine that Ryan Liss is taking all the way, or at least just has one spot where he's going to take a hack. But he's got a chance to earn an RBI by just standing still, and he does. It's a 4-pitch walk with the bases loaded. Not what you want for the freshman Emmett Christian. So he hits a guy, walks a guy, both with the bases loaded. 2-run score for the Beavers. That brings up Brent Savage, the third baseman. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Has a walk and a sacrifice fly.
Maybe the last guy you want at the plate if you're the Jumbos here. This is an important out. You can't let this one get out of hand here.
And it's tough because, I mean, you got to attack him. You can't nibble the corners. You're struggling to find the zone. That's 5 consecutive balls. You've got to pitch for strikes, pitch for contact.
Yeah.
which is tough to do against a guy who's such an imposing presence.
It's a
in the
real
box.
test of composure here for the freshman Christian. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he looked really confident against Bowdoin, so I have all the confidence that he can turn this tough outing around here so far.
Finds the strike zone there for the first one. Sends the count 1-1. Snaps the streak of balls.
Yeah, that first strike is a big one. Hopefully shift the momentum here for Christian. Savage, as we mentioned, having a down year, but a pretty prolific offensive presence in this lineup. Like you said, Tate, not the guy you want to see. As that pitch hits him, oh my goodness. Emmett Christian is crashing and burning here in the top of the 6th. All of those runs will go to Hunter Beindorf, but after 2 hit by pitches, a walk, 3 runs have scored here for the Beavers. This is really not a pretty sight here for the Jumbos on the defensive side of things. Really is a deflating thing. Just takes the wind out of the sail of a team that's been hitting well, pitching well. These kinds of innings are just a backbreaker. Standing out there, they're long, they're grueling. Got to get out of them as quickly as possible.
Especially all those runs coming via a free pass, 2 hit by pitches, and a walk. It's tough to see, and I can't. Here he comes right now. I can't imagine the coaching staff let Christian go much longer, as they do have guys warming up in the bullpen. It's just like you said, it's a horrible momentum killer for the Jumbos, who have really been putting together a great game against a good team.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Come into this inning, you have a 4-3 lead, and you're 2/3 the way through this inning with currently a 6-4 deficit out of 2 pitchers. Trouble. Obviously, admittedly, a difficult situation for any pitcher to come in right now. If they were to change Emmett Christian, looks like they're not going to. He'll keep throwing the ball, but of course, still a difficult situation for him to be in.
Yeah, so after a conversation with Bob Clark, Emmett Christian will look to regather himself, build some rhythm, and pitch out of this inning. He's got Xander Teeters 2 for 3 with a double and a single. Another tough guy to put away in this Babson lineup. Optimistically for the Jumbos, they've got 6 guys with hits, 3 with multi-hit games, so this is not an insurmountable deficit, but got to limit the bleeding here and can't allow Babson to tag on any more insurance in what's already been a 3-run inning here in the top of the 6th.
As we've mentioned, Babson proving that both sides of their lineup do have the teeth Beavers are famous for, and that they really can be effective. That ball hit again,
goodness.
And the Beavers fill the bags once again off a hit by pitch.
This is a tough watch. I mean, Emmett Christian just can't find the zone. He's plunked 3 hitters, walked 1. So now every guy that was on base when he came into pitch has scored, plus the first batter that he saw, all by way of the hit by pitch and the free pass. Freshman Nick Banner, this is a freshman battery, some inexperience, trying to talk things over. Get out of this. Brian Stark is not going to take the ball. Nice to see freshman Nick Banner. I mean, he's nodding his head. He's gives his pitcher a pat on the back. He's really trying to calm him down and settle the situation. This is tough to see. I mean, anytime a team puts up a 4-run inning and still has the bases loaded, it's pretty demoralizing for a team, but you'd almost rather it just be a grand slam than at least that's 1 swing than 3 hit by pitches and a walk. I mean, Babson hasn't really done anything to earn this.
Yeah, easy to say for, of course, a lot of these players coming up to the bag as baseball players, they might sit in their bedroom and dream at night of having a chance for a grand slam to knock all these runs home. But for them, not getting that chance, just simply getting hit or getting walks.
Yeah, you can see here Kushner's really crowding the plate. 3 hit by pitches already. Anything inside, he's going to be ready to wear. Yeah,
that's a great point, Tate. I was noticing that his feet are just right up against that inside line of the righty batter's box. He was hit by a pitch earlier in this when we talked about how he's a hard-nosed, Dustin Pedroia-esque guy. Was I think, apt player comp that you gave. So he's definitely willing to wear one off the elbow here if it means a 4th hit by pitch in the inning, which is a crazy number. You know, whenever I played Little League, there was a policy that if you hit 2 guys or hit 3 guys, it was an automatic yank out of there. Your skipper had to take the ball, mostly out of, I think, safety concerns and the fact that there were a lot of walks back in Little League. But that policy would be helping the Jumbos here as Emmett Christian
Kushner also yet to swing the bat. I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple Babson batters here are just going up there and laying the bat on their shoulder until they see a few strikes here come across the plate.
Yeah, I mean, why would you swing? They loaded the bases via their own merits and then scored 4 runs.
Yeah.
Were basically just gifted to them on a silver platter. There's another walk.
Goodness.
Christian's all over the place. 5 runs, 2 via the walk, 3 via hit by pitches. Not
Can't
something you
imagine
see.
Stark lets him go much longer here.
I'm almost surprised we're not seeing another arm come out of the bullpen right now. You got to do something to stop the bleeding.
Their start comes. They were yelling out to the bullpen. I mean, I think it was just short notice to get a guy going.
Reality is, I think player coming out of the bullpen, maybe. Might have spoke too soon. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
of
this
course
is
Stark is going to
gotta
go
be.
to the mound and try and have some conversation with the team and figure out what's going on with Emmett Christian.
Yeah, there must be just stalling here to get a guy warm. They brought in Christian, not expecting that he would fail to get a single out and plate 5 runs all via free passes and hit by pitches. So they want to go to the bullpen, but they don't really have a guy quite hot yet. So Stark is probably going to milk this one for as long as he can, buy some time.
Brings out an arm now.
And
though,
now they
as
do
we
go to the
speak.
bullpen.
Only 18 pitches, too, for Christian. Just
18 pitches, not a single strikeout.
Did he get an out at all, period? Did he have that pop fly in the infield? Or
He did. He did have the pop fly in the infield, but 2 walks, 3 hit by pitches, 6 batters faced, 18 pitches, 5 free passes. It's not an outing that you're going to write home about.
Yeah, you gotta hit the showers and try to wash that one off, flush it, and move on, as you don't want that to change the complexion of your year too much as a pitcher. That kind of stuff can really get to your head, just a complete fall-apart outing.
Against the Beavers, you might say, exit the river and into the showers. In this case, for the Jumbos, brings up number 25, I believe.
It's Grant Strother. Strother, the sophomore from Salem, Oregon, comes in making his will be 8th appearance on the year in 9 1/3 innings pitch. Has a respectable 4.82 ERA, 7 Ks.
Strother pitched a most recent inning against the loss against Endicott. Gave up 2 hits and an earned run, but overall has been a decently productive pitcher this season for this Jumbo squad. Will do something if he can to see if he can get the Jumbos out of this inning and maybe back onto the offensive side where they can try and cut this 8-4 deficit.
Yeah, I think it's all about command for Strother here. He himself has 5 hit by pitches this season, which was what Christian had coming into this game. He also has 6 walks. So it can't be any more free passes for the Jumbos here. Like you said, you'd rather it be a grand slam, right? It's a little less demoralizing. At least it was earned by the Beavers. But, I mean, they just put the bat on the shoulder and walked across the plate.
Yeah, and it's hard for a reliever to come in and have such pressure on them to throw strikes with good hitters up at the plate. So understandably difficult situation for Emmett Christian. Obviously, he's not pleased with the way it ended up, as Babson has put up 5 in this inning. The bases are loaded. It's Valente now. He's the DH, 1 for 3 on the day. Strother's got to buckle down and get 1 out. Jumbos are only down 4, and they've still got 4 frames to play with. The way they've been swinging the bats in this one, this is by no means a foregone conclusion. Oh, my goodness. Man, you know, we've got some loyal fans here at Tufts, but even the empathetic parents may be heading for the exits. That's another hit by pitch. The 6th run that's scored this inning. Holy cow, you do not usually see
On the first pitch.
That's a really tough start for
Yeah,
Strother.
I mean,
Come out, obviously had hit batters, I apologize, in the past few innings, but this is a struggle for them.
that's just, I mean, you want to talk about a gut punch. You get a new guy in the very first pitch. It looks like Wilson was swinging for the moon with that one.
I mean, this is the whole team's got to feel kind of helpless out there. I mean, the defense can't do anything to help them. Nick Banner, I mean, he's tried his best to calm down his guys and work with them. Was a solid freshman battery mate to Emmett Christian throughout the year, has caught a couple of his outings. Really, it's just on the pitchers. Got to throw strikes in these situations, and they've failed to do so. It's resulted in 6 runs. As that pitch is errant, Nick Banner keeps it in front, thinking about
Great stop by Banner there. That's huge. I mean, that could have just been another shake your head moment and a wild pitch. Great play. That's a huge play.
count is 1-1. Strother's trying to buckle down here, attack Wilson. The left fielder stands in. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Babson only has 7 hits, but after all that has happened here, they have 9 runs. That ball is hit softly out to center field. It falls in front of Caden Abraham, who comes up firing. No cutoff. 2 runs will score on the 2 RBI single by number 5, Alexander Wilson. So the sophomore comes up clutch. The first hit in 8 batters for Babson. Nonetheless, all of those batters have RBIs to their ledger. So just an absolutely demoralizing inning for the Jumbos. The wheels are coming off. This is a tough watch.
Yeah, for sure. Score now 11-4, and the Beavers still continuing with a runner on second and a runner on first. 2 outs for the Jumbos. Beavers will look to get those runners into scoring position and see if they can keep the offensive momentum going. A 8-run inning so far, 7-run lead.
It just takes a game, right? That single takes a game, and all those free passes and everything. That when it's 5-4, 6-4, it's a very comebackable game. As this one's belted to left field and will be caught and put it away, but now they've really dug themselves a hole, a 7 runs if you want to get it back in the lead, and that's hard. That was a really, really hard watch, that inning.
Yeah, so a merciful end to the inning as Julian will fly out to Leonard out in left after a bunch of walks. Couldn't count them on one hand, and a couple hit by pitches. The Beavers will plate 8. The lead is now 11-4. Jumbos will come up to hit in the bottom of the 6th. We'll take a quick break and be back with you shortly.
Holy crap.
And we're back here in the bottom of the 6th after a brutal top half of the frame. Babson puts up 8 runs and now lead the Jumbos 11-4 in spite of being out-hit 9-8. So really an unprecedented box score thus far. Rarely do you see a team with a 7-run lead being out-hit by their opponent. The Jumbos will have Owen McKiernan, Ian Robertson, Ozzie Fleischer. That's 6, 7, 8 in the lineup. Looking to get going here. They'll see Pearl, the reliever who came in to end the last inning, got out of the jam with just 4 pitches. So the Jumbos will look to slowly, piece by piece, climb back from a 7-run deficit. It's certainly doable. They've been swinging hot sticks today. The wind is blowing out. Offensively, the energy has been good. It was just really some errant pitching from a couple relievers. Hopefully the Jumbos can climb back on the offensive side of things here starting in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, they've had pop all day and recently. I mean, they put up 10 runs yesterday. Like you said, it's not impossible. It just they're going to just have to bounce right back. They're going to have to try and really take that one to the mouth and just get back up and get going here.
Baseball is a game of individual matchups, and whenever you think about it that way, you want to win each pitch. And I think whenever you're deep in a hole in deficits like this, it's 7 runs, you start thinking about the game in its entirety, more existentially about your chances. You got to just think about winning each pitch, and slowly that's how good teams work back from deficits. It's something that Brian Stark emphasizes. If you win more pitches than your opponent throughout a ball game, more often than not, the final score will reflect in your favor. A couple pitches were worn by Babson batters last inning, and those were contributed significantly to the fact that Tufts is now down 7 as Owen McKiernan strikes out against Pearl. It's now Ian Robertson, the third baseman, getting just his 5th start on the year. He's 0 for 2 today. Got to just win each pitch. Work back in, attack fastballs, stick to your normal approach. It's the Jumbo's way back into this one.
Yeah, they've really been swinging the bat well today, like we've talked about. It's just, they need to just shake that off. And really, they need a good start here. I think if they can find a way to have a decently long inning, whatever that looks like, whether that's getting guys on base, whether that's working long counts, just get in the batter's box a little bit. Stay out of the field, get some momentum, and just have something to smile about coming back to the dugout.
It's a great point, Tate. Whether a guy lays down a bunt or has a big hit or flashes some leather out in the field, something to get the guys going, flip the momentum. I mean, really, Babson certainly has momentum in the sense that they just put up an 8-run inning, but a lot of that functionally unearned. It's definitely different than were an 8-run inning to become off 12 singles. I mean, all these guys were hit by pitches and walked. So it's not like Babson is necessarily representing some extreme offensive firepower. It's mostly been handed to them. So the Jumbos have the chance to take this back. The commuter line rolls through in right center. The 2-2 delivery. Pearl comes set and throws. Swung on and missed. Sat down for the 3rd time today is Ian Robertson. Both guys to come to the plate this inning for the Jumbos. Sat down by way of the strikeout. It's now Ozzie Fleischer, the grad student captain shortstop. 1 for 2 on the day.
I think this is a huge spot for Fleischer to step up as a captain and work a count, and there you go.
That ball is hit hard right at the center fielder. Making a nice play out there is Parisi. 1-2-3 inning in just 11 pitches. Not what Tufts needed. The deficit remains 7. Hopefully the pitching staff can bear down and limit the damage in the top of the 7th. We'll take a quick break and be back in the Babson half of the inning. Stick with us. And we're back here in the top of the 7th, now pitching for the Jumbos, junior southpaw Jack Edwards, getting just his 4th appearance of the year in 3 innings of work thus far, posting a 9 ERA with 4 Ks, so small sample size, but some early struggles for Edwards. He'll face the top of this Babson lineup in Parisi, Guest, and Liss.
Edwards in 2024 appeared in just 1 game, pitching a scoreless inning. This season appeared obviously in a few more. We'll look to expand his sample size and obviously see if he can, well, put up a better performance than I think the past innings of Jumbo pitchers.
That last top of the 7th for the Beavers, about 45 minutes. The Jumbos half of the inning, about 3 or 4. For us and the guys in the field, and I'd imagine all the Jumbo fans weathering the windy day here in Medford in the crowd, that top of the 6th felt more like 2 hours. It was just brutal, lots of hit by pitches, lots of walks, lots of unforced runs, handing Babson an 8-run inning, got a new arm out there and 3 innings to work with. Tufts is down 7. It's the top of the Babson lineup to face Jack Edwards, the lefty.
Just got to reset completely as a team here. Like it never happened. It's a new game. It's a 3-inning game. You just got to win it here.
Weird, awkward moment for number 6 there of the Beavers, which is Thomas Prissy. Fouls that ball, kind of falls right behind him. Both he and Banner as catcher a little unsure where that ball is before, obviously, that one going foul anyway.
Percy swinging away and launching that one into left center. Ranging under it is Leonard and making the nice play on the tailing line drive for the first out of the inning.
That's a great start there. A couple pitches, short count, early out. It's a good start for Jack Edwards and the Jumbos on their way back into this one.
Brings up Justin Guest for the Beavers now. Almost tagged by that pitch, falls just into the dirt below his feet before hitting him. So not continuing the previous trend. Justin maybe was waiting for it. Doesn't happen though.
Babson in their game yesterday afternoon against LaSalle had a 6th run, bottom of the 6th. Again today they have an 8-run, top of the 6th. So those middle of the game big innings have been powering some victories for Babson. Not to say that this one is necessarily over. Still some time to work with, but some teams win by chipping away and slowly building margins. Babson maybe seeming to show their character more as a big inning kind of ball club. As that ball is laced hard down the left field line, that will be extra bases. Rounding first and heading to second, he'll be in there easily, thinking about 3, but wisely holding up there is Justin Guest, the first baseman. That's his 2nd hit of the game, 2nd double of the game. Really nice piece of hitting there by Guest.
Yeah, and that's a great hit, and it's good for if you're looking at it from the Babson side. Now they're putting more pressure on. They got another runner in scoring position. They only got 1 out, so this is an important out for the Jumbos to get. It's going to be a tough one in Liss, but they got to get through it and bounce back here after another tough hit.
Yeah, the Beavers today have done a really good job as batters of exploiting those right and left field lines and putting balls just along them. And we've seen that on a bunch of different scenarios. Those balls go into the outfield where they can capitalize and put multiple bases up.
As that ball clips the back heel of Liss, Jumbo's really struggling to Jumbo's pitching staff just can't keep the ball in the strike zone. Liss had walked twice earlier in this one, now is hit by a pitch to add to a line that includes that triple off the 370 sign in left center. So a nice day for Liss. Pretty much everyone that will now come to the plate for Babson in this game has at least either one walk or hit by pitch. Savage, no different, has been walked once. That ball almost clips him.
That was a close one inside there, and it's just unfortunate to see too, because this is the last regular season home game for the Jumbos. They have 8 games on the road coming up to finish their season, 6 of which will be NESCAC contests, and they've struggled on the road this year. They're 3-8 on the road opposed to 9-5 at home. This was a big one for them, and it's just hard to see it turn into the situation that they're in now, as this was a huge win on their schedule if they could have got it, and it's not over yet, but they're in a tough hole.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's interesting to think about how these middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday games affect the trajectory of a season. Obviously matter a little bit less than the weekend conference series, which Tufts has proven to do pretty well in, winning against Amherst and 2 big wins against Bowdoin this past weekend. But they can really deflate momentum after those big wins, as this looks like a tailor-made 2-ball, but it's bobbled by McCullough, who then is able to regather and barely get onto the bag at second base. So an awkward fielder's choice, what could have been a double play, turns into be a lucky salvaged run. I'm not sure if that's 4 unassisted or if he flipped that to Ozzie Fleischer. Definitely an awkward play up the middle, but they get the out nonetheless. 2 away now. It brings up Xander Teeter, who has a double and a single to his line.
That's a tough play too. I mean, if you think about it from a fielder's perspective, you just stood around for 45 minutes. I mean, they didn't really see any balls, no action really in the infield, and then you got to ask a guy to make a tough, quick double play ball and a slow roller that he's got to charge. It's just hard all the way around, and it's not an excuse, but you're putting yourself in bad situations, and in a game like this, you need to find a way to put yourself in a good spot.
Yeah, it's a good point, Tate, how big innings just can really be demoralizing. Wow, really nice pick by Banner. The runner will advance, call it defensive indifference, but flashing the leather is Nick Banner behind the plate to scoop up a ball in the righty batter's box and prevent what would have been a wild pitch and likely another run for Babson. So good work by the freshman backstop. The runner does advance to second with no throw. Count is 1-2. Guys on second and third. Got to limit the damage if Tufts wants to claw back into this one. Banner makes another nice block. He's shown some defensive promise behind the plate today.
Yeah, a couple tough pitches by Edwards there in a row. I mean, in an 0-2 count, you want to make a guy go after something outside, a breaking away slider, breaking away curveball. But if you're going to hit a righty batter with it, in theory, then there's a great pitch on the black as we're talking about it. But in general, great play by Banner, and it ends up in a strikeout.
So they punch out Xander Teeter on a backwards K. A hit by pitch and a base knock both get stranded. So on a hit by pitch, 2 stranded, no runs. It's still 11-4 Babson. We'll be back in the bottom of the 7th. The Jumbos will continue to see Pearl on the mound. We'll be back after a quick break. And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us after a little 7th inning stretch here in Medford. The Jumbos trail the Beavers of Babson College 11-4, though both teams are equal with 9 hits in this ballgame. The Bows will have 9-1-2. That is Caden Abraham, Jesse McCullough, and Ben Leonard to continue to face Tristan Pearl, who's put in a nice outing in relief here.
Yeah, for sure as well. From a statistics point of view, anybody that really likes to follow that aspect of D3 or D1 baseball for any matter, this game broke the Tufts program record so far as that ball is driven to the first baseman, throws to the pitcher who manages to get the out there. Nice bit of play there from Justin Guest and Chase Burrows. That being said, this game has broken the program record for the most hit batters in a single game for the Jumbos.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen a lot of hit by pitches now at Saul Gittleman Park here recently, as just on Monday, Brawla took 3 hit by pitches himself in the batter's box. And a fun statistical fact, since we're talking about it, is this one's popped up real high out in that Bermuda Triangle and calling for it.
Nice
Great catch.
Nice play by Ryan Liss, ranging in, calling off his first and second baseman and taking command in an awkward part of the field. So we've really seen efficient work here from Tristan Pearl in relief. Had a 4-pitch out when he came in with guys on, and then had that quick inning. Now he's got 2 outs in just a matter of 4 or 5 pitches here in the top of the 7th. The Jumbos maybe need to slow him down. I know they want to attack the fastball, but maybe now take a couple pitches. I mean, they've dug themselves a deep hole on the defensive side of things. it's Ben Leonard, James Henshin, and then Cooper Smith. Henshin and Smith both have multi-hit games. Leonard 1 for 3 on the day thus far. So the right guys to claw together a comeback, but it's going to take a big effort for the Jumbos.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I think Babson doing a really good job right now of just simply defending their lead. I mean, they went out to such a big lead, just capitalized on Tufts' mistakes, and then are able to hopefully just hold it if you're the Beavers right now. And head coach Matt Noon just to keep it going. That ball driven out to center field, but it holds up and is caught by Thomas Parisi.
Man, I've been surprised by some of these hard-hit line drives, the way they've hung up and been able to be fielded. I thought that for sure was going to fall in front of Parisi, but really hard hit from Leonard. It hangs up in the air. Again, the Jumbos barreling balls, but finding the leather. 1-2-3 inning, another one for Pearl. The Jumbos go down in order. Lead is still 11-4. We'll be back after a short break, and there's going to be a pitching change. See you in a few. And we're back here in the top of the 8th. Thanks for sticking with us. Babson leads Tufts 11-4. Coming in for Tufts, the 5th arm of the day is Derek Desmarius. The freshman went to St. Albans High School in Washington, D.C. He's put together a nice freshman campaign. Tade, what can you tell us about his numbers?
Yeah, he's got a 1.8 ERA, and he's got 10 innings pitched, so he's definitely seen some action, definitely a good sample size. He's got 14 strikeouts. And importantly for Tufts today, he's only got 4 walks. So he's got good command and he's got good strikeout power. So hopefully he can avoid the bats and keep it in the zone. And hopefully that combination can get him back batting quickly.
Definitely important. More hit batsmen would just be the ultimate deflator. Salt in the wound for what's been the narrative thus far. It's hit batters and walks. The catcher comes up to the plate now. It's Kushner. He was hit by a pitch earlier. As we mentioned, he likes to crowd the plate, not afraid to lean into one. But, yeah, Desmarius, a pretty accurate pinpoint guy, at least from what he's shown early this season, holding opponent hitters to just a 200 average on the year and only walking 4 guys. So really good numbers from the rookie. It's what you like to see.
Yeah, a good spot for a freshman to come into. You know, there's not a lot of pressure. Not exactly a close game right now, so this is a good opportunity for him to continue that confidence, continue to build a resume, and just really continue that momentum into a more important part of the season.
I was thinking if he can come in and prove that he can be pseudo-impactful and not let anything offensively happen for the Beavers, might be able to advocate for himself in an example way to give him a better chance at playing longer games later in this season as that ball is driven to center field.
Camping under it is Caden Abraham. He hauls it in for the first out of the inning, retiring Gabe Kushner. That brings up number 28 in this Babson lineup. That is Ben Valenti.
Valenti from Newton, Massachusetts, not too far from here. Not too far from Babson either, actually. Perhaps with the baseball opportunity, chose to stay close to home, sends that one down the left field line, snaps to first base, and James Henshin is all over it.
Good throw there by Robinson, strong, in control. You know, he had that bobble earlier that didn't cost him anything, but it just good to see there as they look for an everydayer on those corner spots.
So 2 quick outs here for Derek Desmarius. And he will now have Wilson standing in. The 8-hole hitter in this Babson lineup is 2 for 4, so nice production out of the bottom of the lineup.
Desmarius finds the outside corner on that one to make the count 0-1. Second pitch goes behind Banner. Luckily, in this scenario, no runners on base for Babson to capitalize and move. So a little more calm.
Yeah, rare thing to say today that Babson doesn't have anybody on base, as they've just had people out there around the diamond, it seems like, all night.
Wilson gets another cut of that one, sends it back, make the count 1-2 on the day.
Desmarius has definitely done a great job here in these first 3 batters working the count, and even the first one he got a little behind, but works his way back, and that's huge for these Tufts pitchers, because then you put yourself in a situation where you're walking less guys when you have more opportunity.
So Derek Desmaris puts together the first clean inning in a while for the Jumbos, and it's a big one in the top of the 8th. 1-2-3 go down the Beavers. Tufts will have another shot at it in the bottom of the 8th. Stick with us. We'll be back after a short break. And we're back here in the bottom of the 8th as Tristan Pearl will face 3-4-5 in the Jumbos lineup. That's the red-hot Henshin, Smith, followed by the freshman catcher Nick Banner. Pearl's been really effective coming out of the pen for this Babson squad. Just his first appearance on the year. And Velo's sitting around 81, 82, which is on the lower end for a southpaw in the NUMAC, NESCAC level of D3 baseball, but does feature a really tight slider, which we've seen today. 2,600 rotations on that, 26 inches of horizontal break. So that's what's made him so effective, is the way he's been able to tunnel that fastball with the slightly slower velocity with that nice slider. Henshin all over it, though, as a nice play sliding to the backhand side, flashing some leather, and a nice pick. So a good play on both ends there by Xander Teeter. And then Justin Guest to retire James Henshin. So Tristan Pearl is pitching well and getting some good defense behind him. That is a recipe for success for Babson, as thus far in this one, Pearl has conceded no hits.
Yeah, that was a good bit of baseball there from the Beavers. And really clean, too. No mistakes. Able to retire another batter and keep them moving in the offensive direction.
And it's been the juxtaposition of relief pitching between Pearl's relatively clinical outing. I mean, 2 strikeouts, no hits. Really hasn't even put anyone on. No walks. And obviously the woes on the relief side of things, just finding the zone for the Jumbo's pitching staff. So that's really defined this game thus far. Both teams have the same number of hits. All of the Jumbo's hits coming off of the starter, Chase Burrows, and Pearl has been able to come in and really shut it down where the Jumbo's relief arms have struggled.
That was a great snag there just a couple pitches ago from Gabe Kushner. Went way high right, like way up, almost above the batter, and he was able to stand up and snag that one. Obviously,
wouldn't really have been massively consequential. No batters on base right now, but still impressive nonetheless.
That
Maybe
is
spoke a little too soon. on
Pearl's
the-
first base runner now.
Yeah.
So that's a classic announcer's curse, and I will do so happily if it can claw us back into this one. You never want to say the magic word whenever a guy has a 0 in the hit column, because once you bring it up, it's kind of the beginning of the end. We'll now have a pinch hitter for the Jumbos. It's Charlie Hazen coming in to swing in lieu of Nick Banner. Hazen, the freshman out of Scottsdale, Arizona.
I will say, Matthew, I think you've had worse commentators' curses that I've heard. Matthew in the past has been like, this player hitting a home run, and then they've gone down swinging.
Balk called on that pitch. Yeah, I do like to make maybe some overly ambitious predictions.
Keep an eye on Pearl. We saw his really good pickoff moves to first earlier in this game. See if he'll take advantage as a lefty, maybe going back to second base here as well.
And this is kind of a cool moment. This is Charlie Hazen's collegiate debut. So not sure if his parents are here in attendance or watching at home, but congratulations to them as their son gets his first swing at things at the collegiate level. He's got a guy in scoring position. Obviously, not a super tight game here, but that is one upside of blowouts is that the young kids get to play and get hacks at things. So his first look, he hacks at one there and sends it in the direction of the Babson dugout. It'll fall foul just in front of that fence over on the right side. So Hazen comes from Brophy Prep from the Scottsdale, Arizona area. He's catching, so we have to imagine coming in for Nick Banner, he will also get some work defensively just for one last inning back there behind the plate, barring any major comeback here from the Jumbos. He's got a chance for an RBI here. 1-2 count. He's facing Pearl, who's been efficient. That ball is swung on and chopped at the shortstop. Fielded, charging. Burning it down the line is Hazen, but he's retired. Does advance the runner.
Good bit of work there from Jack Julian out at shortstop. Those bouncing balls are tricky to judge where they're going to be and where the trajectories are going to be, especially as you're running into them. And did a good job of snagging that one nearly off the ground and then sending it, of course, to Justin Guest at first.
Kieran stands in. He's 1 for 3 on the day with 2 RBIs. Got a chance at another one here.
Yeah, if there's any time he would love to add to that RBI count, it would be right now and give the Jumbos more of a chance coming back around in the 9th inning.
Check swing. Check on the appeal. The field ump says no-go. It always kind of seemed odd to me at this level where there's only 2 umps out there in the field that they still have the appeal. The field ump doesn't per se have a much better angle at it out there on the left side of the mound. But
that is a great point.
they'll ask nonetheless. I mean, I think he's just got just about as good of a look as us up here or the home plate umpire back there, Mike Hinojosa. But it's kind of a formality thing. 3-0 count here to McKiernan. Taking all the way. 3-1.
It's the first time we've really seen Pearl get behind in counts, and I mean he's not struggling this inning by any means, but just his first couple mistakes that we're seeing.
That pitch is called a strike to the chagrin of McKiernan. Thought it was ball 4.
You can always tell when players think it's a ball. They drop one hand down low to the barrel and one hand high ready to toss the bat. Not
Is
the
that-
case. That one driven to left field.
That ball is laced out to the wall. The left fielder cannot get after it. McKiernan stumbles a bit around first base, but he's upstanding for a double, his second hit of the game and 3rd RBI. Have yourself a day, Owen McKiernan.
Cooper
kind of
Smith
a-
comes home with that one as well. Score now 11-5.
It's kind of a Chris Paul 3-esque moment to cut the deficit, but for anyone tracking that reference. But good day nonetheless for Owen McKiernan. Another exciting season debut. Tyler Wong is going to come in to pinch hit after this mound visit, and it looks like head coach Matt Noon is going to take the ball from Pearl. So a really good day for Pearl. He goes 3 full innings, 2 complete, the 1/3 inning when he came in relief, and then 2/3 here. Concedes 1 run on 3 strikeouts and just 2 hits. So a nice day for Pearl. Who do we have coming in relief? Can't quite see it yet from up here. But waiting on deck and going to get his first hacks of the season is sophomore Tyler Wong. Appeared in 7 games last year and was 1 for 14, so just a .071 batting average. But first swing of things this year. Again, a nice thing to see whenever teams are getting beat badly. You get some new guys, some looks. Looks like we've got James Clark coming in here for the Babson Beavers. He'll be their third pitcher of the game, the junior righty out of Southborough, Massachusetts. He went to Algonquin Regional High School, stands at an imposing 6'2", 215.
Pitched 28 innings this season, a recent 1 inning against Salve Regina on Monday night. A season ERA of 4.71. Last year pitched a season ERA of 5.64. Not necessarily a crazy impressive ERA, but nonetheless a consistent pitcher that we would expect to play a good ending relief role in this matchup against the Jumbos.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely one of the workhorses in this dugout, as it looks like he's third in innings pitched, tied with Jason Finkelstein for Babson. So obviously a prominent pitcher in their rotation, and they'll definitely be looking for him to close this one out quickly if he can.
So I'm excited to watch this. It's always nice to follow storylines. Second guy of the day for the Tufts Jumbos to come to the plate in their first appearance of the year. It's Tyler Wong.
2 West Coast guys, too, California and Arizona, getting their first looks.
I'd like to see him hacking early, jumping on the heater and fouling it back. Timing looks right on. Wong donning a pretty intimidating mask. Would be helpful if he was a Babson hitter as an extra protective measure, considering how much they've been getting hit. But he's protected. He fouls 2 balls back, this one in the direction of the parking lot. So
First mention of the parking lot we've had in today's matchup. Usually that's a pretty quick mention as batters foul balls back into the many cars that choose to risk their ceilings there.
Catcher set up outside, hits his spot, but that's in the lefty batter's box, so we'll have a 1-2 count coming. All fastballs early to Tyler Wong. See what they go with the 1-2 delivery. As that is a little, excuse me, check swing. Field umpire, as Tyler Wong was negotiating with Mike Hinojosa behind the plate, the field umpire ultimately comes in and calls it dead, saying it hit him in the box. So, extra life here. So we hear some "Let's Go T" calls from the crowd. This is always fun as a fan to see a guy getting their first look at things in a season. Add some excitement to a game that's otherwise been a bit disappointing for the Jumbo faithful. Count is now 2-2 after the first off-speed pitch of the AB misses in the lefty batter's box.
Will say impressed by the Jumbos faithful, even though this has been a disappointing game. I really haven't seen any fans leave at all.
As Wong takes that one looking painted on the outside corner. Nice pitch there by Clark as he comes in and retires the only batter he faces. So the Jumbos do push one more across, cut the deficit to 6. It's now 11-5. We'll have Wong and Hazen, some new guys out in the field. Hazen getting his first looks behind the dish of his collegiate career. That'll be fun to watch here in the top of the 9th. Stick with us after a short break. And we're back here in the last inning of this one, barring a miraculous Jumbo's comeback. The Babson Beavers currently lead Tufts 11-5, though Tufts has out-hit the Beavers, a storyline that has been interesting to follow. Coming into pitch for Tufts, it's Mark Herlihy after a nice inning of work from Derek Desmaris. Herlihy, the sophomore, out of Wellesley, Mass. He went to the Rivers School there. Last year posted a bit of an eyesore and a 9 ERA, but this year off to a better start in just 2 outings, posting a 3.89 ERA in 2 1/3 inning of work. So it's always nice to see some guys that get some usually less PT come in whenever games are a blowout. His battery mate, Charlie Hazen, makes his first appearance defensively after taking his first collegiate AB in the bottom half of the previous inning.
Yeah, exciting opportunity for Hazen after making his debut in the box. He can make his debut defensively, and in a position that, like we've mentioned all night long, they've been looking for someone to really fill big shoes. So another opportunity for another guy that maybe didn't expect a lot of time this season is going to get an inning here to show us what he can do.
So Wong comes in for Robertson, and Hazen comes in for Banner, and Herlihy relieves Desmaris on the mound here in the top of the 9th. Herlihy will see the 9-hitter Julian, and then the lineup will flip for Parisi and Justin Guest. That pitch is hit, looked like it was hit hard off the bat, looked maybe an jam shotter off the end a little bit, because ended up dying out in shallow center and fielded easily by Jesse McCullough for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, this is the 6th at-bat for Parisi today, and not a lot of games where you get to bat 6 times, but tonight is one of them, as he's 1 for 4 with a hit by pitch.
And even though we've gone through this Babson lineup and everyone has 5 plate appearances now, this is our 6th time through the order, not a single person actually has 6 at-bats. So that definitely speaks to the amount of walks and hit by pitches. Notably, Liss only has 2 at-bats and 5 plate appearances. Same goes for Savage. Kushner has 3. So just way too many free passes. That's been the narrative in this one. No one in the Babson order really needing to truly earn the fact that they've all reached base. And teams will trade bruises for runs any day. Get plenty of ice going on the bus ride back home as another ball runs in and hits him.
Second one for Parisi now.
So we already mentioned earlier in the broadcast that Tufts has set the program record for most batters hit by pitches, and they'll just extend upon that here in the top of the 9th. I guess if you're going to set a record, even if it's a negative one, might as well set it emphatically.
Yeah, make something to talk about, right?
Runner goes.
Throw down, get him! And they got him!
What a throw by Hazen.
Let's go. Charlie Hazen gives the crowd something to cheer about. So the first runner that goes on him in his collegiate debut is gunned down on a throw put right on the money. Good stuff from the rookie. That'll definitely get the boys excited.
That's so awesome to see. I mean, we talked about literally 3 minutes ago him coming behind the plate, and what a throw. That's awesome.
You know, I read a book recently, and there was this this character that was kind of this down-and-out artist and never really got their true break in life. And then this curator visited their studio and saw all these incredible pieces, and they finally got their big break because when the curator came to visit, they had done all this great work. And I feel like that taught me, at least personally, to be ready for your moment. You know, if they hadn't been practicing their craft and making these paintings, then the curator would have passed straight through and not given them much of a second eye. But ultimately, that was their breakthrough moment. Charlie Hazen definitely internalizing that and ready for his first shot at things at the collegiate level. As a quick inning here with the fly out to Caden Abraham out in center field. Good work by Mark Herlihy, limits the damage. It's 11-5. Tufts will have last licks here in the bottom of the 9th. Stick with us. And we're back here. Thanks for sticking with us as we move towards the third hour of this long baseball game. Tufts trails Babson 11-5. It'll be Fleischer, Abraham, and then the top of the order with Jesse McCullough, who's put together a nice day. Clark will come in, looking to put together a multi-inning relief appearance and shut the door here on what will be a nice middle-of-the-week win for Babson. First pitch, Fleischer sees, misses outside.
Fleischer will look to get what would be a spectacular comeback for the Jumbos. Started a current 6-run deficit here in the bottom of the ninth. Either, obviously, they would hope to have a comeback that wins it better than a comeback that ties it, but nonetheless still potentially available, starting with Ozzie Fleischer here.
Fleischer 1 for 3, swings through the 1-1 delivery. 1-2 on its way, just barely misses off the outside corner. Similar to the pitch that rung up Wong to end the last one.
Interested to see the batting approach that Tufts takes here, if they're going to try and extend at-bats or go at him aggressively.
Looked like the exact same spot, but Mike Quinosa thought it was a little closer to the plate.
Tough way to start with a strikeout looking if you're looking to come back from 7.
We have the advantage of 2020 StatCast up here in the commentator booth, and that one was functionally identical to the previous pitch, called a ball a couple inches off the plate, so tough go of it for Fleischer.
You know, professional wiffle ball has been on my TikTok feed recently, and they have a square that is you hit it and it's a strike. And I think in some way, shape, or form, baseball might benefit from that strategy, because then the strike zone is consistent not only, of course, across batters, but across games and across umpires.
It's a really interesting debate. I don't really have an opinion on, but you know, a lot of people calling for robot umpires, but a lot of people saying that it ruins the integrity of the game. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting points on both sides, and maybe it could be a useful English paper if you haven't taken English 1 yet.
Batting now for the Jumbos is Ronan Wong. He swings at the 2-1 delivery, count now 2-2. Another fun debut. Wong, like some other players at the D3 level, also a pitcher who will come in to take his first hacks. A sophomore taking his first ever collegiate at-bat. He's had 5 appearances on the mound this year for the Jumbos, posting a 7.7 ERA and 4 2/3 innings of work. Wong, I know, as a fellow member of the club, is one of the leaders of the baseball analytics club at Tufts, so a computer science student with astute eye for the game as he gets some tough luck hitting one hard at Justin Guest, who makes a good play ranging to his forehand side over at first base. So Ronan Wong, I'm not sure if this team sees him as a two-way guy or slot in a PO just to have some fun in the bottom of the ninth in a blowout, but he gets his first look at things at the plate and hits the ball hard. So good stuff from Ronan.
A good crack at that ball. Obviously unfortunate that Justin Guest makes an athletic move, but would have been good to see that one driven to the 310 wall.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we've been talking about a lot with the Jumbos bats, is a lot of hitting it in the sweet spot or hitting it hard and just having loud outs, and there's not much you can really do about that. All you can really do is put the ball in play, and sometimes players make good plays, and you kind of just have to tip your cap.
McCullough, count now 1-1, checks his swing there. This time the field in a position to make an accurate call and calls it a no swing. Count now 2-1. McCullough stands in, hitting 2 for 4 on the day. Nice to see him getting the bat going a little bit more deeper into the season. It's been a slight down year, but getting hot when it matters. Swings through that one, way out in front. So the Jumbos are now down to their last strike. This has been a game defined by unforced errors and unearned runs for Babson. High fastball misses. Tufts has out-hit the Beavers 10-9, trailing 11-5.
The count goes full. Babson preying on a strike here to end what has been a good ball game of capitalizing on opportunity. The last one goes
And
in.
that will do it. Strike 3 called by Mike Hinojosa. Put it in the books. Babson bests Tufts 11-5 here in Medford, Mass. Gentlemen, what do you think? Final takeaways from this one, Tade.
Yeah, I think you were just talking about it. I think the biggest difference for me personally was the difference in bullpen pitching. I think you see guys come out of the bullpen, we're up 4-3, and we come in and land a lot of hit-by pitches, a lot of walks, and it just turns the game on its head. And Pearl comes in for Babson and puts an unbelievable outing in and maintains that lead. And for me, that was the turning point of this game was the bullpen pitching.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I thought this was a good strategic game from Babson, and as much as we can necessarily say, oh, they didn't earn every one of these runs, they were there to capitalize on the opportunity, and I think there's something to be said for that, for this Babson team to be optimistic going into the future of their season. Of course, for the Jumbo squad, Matthew, what's next for them?
Lined up for the Jumbos, they've got Trinity in their third NESCAC Conference Series. Trinity, similar kind of character as the Jumbos, hovering a little bit below 500. They're 2-4 in NESCAC Conference play. It'll be our first away series within the NESCAC, so we'll see if the Jumbos can bounce back after a tough middle-of-the-week loss to Babson. 11-5 for the Babson Beavers. They'll move in with a little wind in their sail going into NEWMAC Conference play this weekend. They're now 16-8 and poised to finish the season off well, looking in the direction of the playoffs. Thank you to all the listeners tuning in today at home. Again, final score, Babson beats Tufts 11-5, while Tufts out-hits the Beavers 10-9. It's been a fun one here in Medford, Mass. I've been Matthew here with Tade, Nick, Eva directing, and Jake up on camera. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and thanks for the great crew. As always, stay home safely.